All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to VLE Challengers Cup 2. Today, we're getting the elimination matches of the group stage off to a start with a matchup between Visualize and TIMEZ from Group A. Now, today, I'm joined in the casting booth by a new face this tournament, but you may have met him if you watched Cup 1, and his name is Nick. How you doing on this wonderful night, man?
Hello. I'm doing great. How you doing, Robbie?
Pretty good, man. I mean, I'm so excited for tonight's matchup, dude, because this is our first elimination match. And, you know, we saw those first matchups in the openings. You know, we got to see our winners matches. But this, Nick, tonight is the first time we're going to see who actually gets eliminated out of the tournament with this matchup here. How you feeling about that?
I have a good feeling about this match. I feel like it's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. Definitely because it's an elimination match, but also I feel like these teams are actually rather close to each other.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I want to talk about that too because, I mean, Visualize, you know, this team struggled in their first matchup against Minji, going down in 2-0 fashion with the map scorelines actually respectively being 13-6 and 13-6, right? And one of the biggest critiques that we had here on the caster's booth about their gameplay was they were not facilitating Cooney enough on that duelist role. And we mentioned how after that series we expected them to go back to the drawing board and develop more structure to their system to help Cooney succeed more in his duels. And so Nick, you know, do you think we'll see that change come out today?
I hope to definitely see some change. While they might have not capitalized too much and there might have been some fundamentals missing, I feel like their playstyle was actually definitely on the good side and something that does have potential. So I definitely believe that they put in at least some work, and I just hope to see some change for the better this game.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, it's going to be so cool to see that come out because they've had a lot of time to prep for this as well. I mean, that opening match versus Minji was the very first match that we had in this tournament, and since then they've just been watching. So they've had a lot of time to get it done. But now on the flip side, we've got TIMEZ, and you know, this team unfortunately had to forfeit their first map in their series against Corner Campers, which was their opening matchup. And they were swept in the one map that they actually played in that series by a 13-6 scoreline on Lotus. And for this team, Nick, the biggest critique we had for them was adaptation, something they seem to be missing in that series against Corner Campers. And you and I both know how important adaptation is in this game. And how do you feel about this team going into the series?
It's definitely a team we haven't seen that much of, as you've said. So I cannot say too much. But I do definitely believe that it's a team that also shows some potential. As long as they sat down and put in the respective work for this, they definitely have a very good chance.
Yeah. No, definitely a good chance for sure because, I mean, both of these teams, they showed their greatest weaknesses in their opening matchups. I definitely think by now that is safe to say. But, I mean, I think that's what makes this matchup close as well. And I'm careful with that word these days, Nick, because on the caster's booth, we've been saying close. And, man, we've been seeing nothing but blowouts. But to be honest with you, I think this will definitely be close, just given what we saw in the two teams in their first matchups and not knowing much more about them.
I definitely believe so as well, especially considering that these guys have had quite some time to look both at each other's games but also at how other teams played, and have also had, I believe, around 2 weeks since the last match for them to actually sit down and practice, and 3 weeks for Visualize. So they've definitely had enough time to get quite a bit of improvement in there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so I'm excited to see how this matchup goes, and we know that you folks at home are, so we don't want to keep you lovely folks at home waiting for too long, so we're going to go ahead and get this started. This is VLE Challengers, Cup 2, Day 7. To be a challenger, you must always be in flow state. And to become a champion, you must ascend. Travel the road from challenger to champion. Go beyond your comfort zone or fall. Over here towards mid. From the shadows came through, but right right now, Hoopa with such nice shots into the round. A fourth. Going through U-Haul, caught by the Cypher Trip. That's 3 hit. And right now, Ekro looking to push through. He gets 4 on the round. Knights gets too far ahead of it. But there it is. The spray transfer comes through. The operator's close range. Going for the next one, and there it is. Shots come through. It's enough to take the diffuser down. And right now, Mango's playing around it very well. He gets all of them. Jadico. Ooh, the spray transfer comes through, and that's 3 for Jadico. Store here. Shots are going to come through the lineup. Ooh, he gets the clutch. There it is. All right, folks, TIMEZ versus Visualize. We are getting closer to the action here as we hop into Agent Select, or Map Select rather here, jumping the gun there. Now, looking here, Visualize did get the Team A based off the random wheel spin. And so Bind is going to be the first banned map. We've got Haven banned there, and we're starting things off on Ascent. Now, Nick, what intrigues me about this map veto actually is that we have Abyss getting picked by TIMEZ there, and that's a map that Visualize actually played in their first series, and you and I talked about the struggle that they had there. So it looks like TIMEZ in this series are looking to, take an advantageous map, and go based off of where they saw the weaknesses in Visualize in that first series. So talk to me about where you see this going. Do you see either teams winning this?
I am actually really curious to see that. I've said this many times before, but Abyss is a map that does not really have like a set way to play it, at least yet, as it is still a rather new map and we haven't seen too much of it. So I'm definitely very curious to see how each team plays it, while we definitely saw some weaknesses from one side, and it looks like TIMEZ is trying to use that. I also believe that Visualize definitely put at least some work into that map, or at least after seeing the first series, they most likely did. Yeah. So, considering they didn't ban it, I am really curious to see how they decide to approach that now.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And I mean, we're going to see the adaptations as well. I mean, since we saw Abyss from Visualize previously, we're going to get to see it again. But the first map we have here is going to be Ascent. And now this is where I want to start talking about compositions that we can expect here. We've seen a lot of innovation this tournament so far, Nick, and a lot of unexpected agent picks. But one thing that I definitely expect going into this series is Cooney, the duelist on the side of Visualize, being on that jet. And one of the things that you and I talked about coming into this series first is the lack of support that he was getting in the first matchup that they had in this tournament. I mean, looking at the stat lines here, he only had that 100 ACS. He was 6, 16, and 1, 0 first blood, and only 70 average damage per round. So obviously a lot of value he could not get out of this duelist role in his first series. So with the first map being Ascent, and I expect him being on Jet, I mean, this is something that's going to have to be a difference maker going into this map.
Considering this is the map pick, I would definitely assume they have put quite a lot of work on this map. Ascent is, I want to say, one of the most simple maps in the current map pool to play, though it's a map that needs fundamentals. While the map is super simple, there's very little room to try different things, It needs really good fundamentals, and it needs really good synergy from a team. So
Yep.
I am hoping to see that, at least from one side, that pick them up, if not both. And yeah.
You made a really good point during that there, Nick, and I want to highlight it is fundamentals. One thing that we lean heavily on when it comes to talking about this game, and especially going up against opponents that you don't have that much prep against, right? And these teams both being somewhat unknown in the space, it's very important that they both play to strong fundamentals. And so I want to see that come out here, and especially TIMEZ. A lot of the adaptations were very, sparse when it comes to their matchup against corner campers in that first series. So looking towards them, to be dynamic in this series as well and play strong fundamentals. Now, looking at these comps, we've got some interesting hovers here, but this is usually where we get baited, Nick. So I'm waiting to see the things lock in.
I'm expecting to see more towards the standard comps.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see some differences, as just like that one actually.
Huh.
Which I'm really curious to see how it translates in game.
Yeah. Visualize,
but this is
there it is.
definitely an interesting one.
Yeah. This is interesting here. So visualize going for standard comp here, of course having that Cypher instead of the Killjoy. But on the flip side, Nick, TIMEZ with a very intriguing comp. We've got the Breach Gecko, and of course everything else being expected with the Omen KJ Jet. Now, I want to start talking about that Breach Gecko here, because that's something we've seen particularly on Sunset. Very similar, very style that we're used to, right? Very familiar style, the word I was looking for there. And so this isn't something we see on Ascent, though. Talk to me how you expect to see this play out on this map.
Breach, I'm really curious to see how this plays out, because Ascent is a map that, as I like to say, is really heavy on setting traps for the enemy on the defense side. You need to find openings and mistakes that the other team makes. As I often say for this map, is the winner for Ascent games is usually, for teams that are on equal terms, is not the better team, but the team that makes less mistakes.
Yep.
Breach is an agent that can very easily use any mistake made from another team to punish them really heavily.
Yeah.
While not as common to pick on this map, I definitely believe that it's something that can work if used correctly.
Yeah. And I like that you emphasize the mistakes, right? You get mistakes forced out from the other team, and Breach heavily punishes that, right? By way of his fault line alone, and that's his signature ability, and that's a cooldown, and that's one thing on Ascent that we talk about is cooldowns, right? Because when it comes to playing that fundamental role, you're used to having that Sova KO, right? Sova, who plays towards B site, gets that information towards B lobby or B main with his recon dart, and then also KO, who plays usually towards tree, he'll knife towards cubby, and get that information from the 0 point towards A lobby and A main respectively. But you don't quite have that same level of information with this Breach Gecko comp, so I'm looking for them to get a lot of fights going here, because that Breach, without that information, I mean, like you said, he's really good at setting up those trap plays with the stuns and the flashes and those aftershocks respectively. And on the flip side, we've got Gecko, and KO being a flash initiator who usually excels at those long-range flashes, to help the Jet go in for those fights. Gecko a little bit more short-range, so I expect this Gecko to be playing up with the Jet on every chance that he gets.
I assume so as well, most likely playing up close. The Gecko Breach comp is definitely one that's more on the aggressive side, as they lack info. However, they definitely have a lot of supportive utility.
Yep.
And a lot of room to punish mistakes. So, again, depending on how it's played, while definitely not a standard comp, I do believe it's a comp that has really good potential.
I can't wait to see this. I mean, I think we're going to see something aggressive here. The Tiles trap plays look good with a comp like this too. Here we are. Yeah, Gecko Breach. We're going to see some crazy fights here. I'm excited to see how that works out on defense, but 7 seconds left into this barrier phase for the pistol round, folks, and this is TIMEZ versus Visualize. This is for all the marbles for both these teams. Elimination matchup underway, and there it is. Dizzy to come right on through to start off this pistol round, and RY on the side of TIMEZ looking for the aggression, and we talked about this, Nick. We expect this to come out with that comp, but fight gonna be awkward. Key out getting the first blood of this round over towards Cat. And they're looking to reset out of this one, and there's that aftershock coming right on through. Kills still coming forward. Dizzy right over the roof, and it helps NRY get that opening pick. And man, this round has already been bloodshed, and TIMEZ handling it so well. And with a first pistol round.
That is definitely quite an explosive start, I want to say. Definitely a kind of different approach, though also interesting. So I guess we'll see how this continues to work for them.
Yeah. And they fought both extremities too. They were fighting A and fighting Cat at the same time. So such aggression coming into this. You can already see the game plan coming through. Throwing that Dizzy over top of the rooftops. I mean, once again, standard fundamentals you're used to seeing on that Sunset map where this comp has been played time and time again. But this time, it's an approach towards mid for Visualize. Nano Swarm comes right on through. Cyber Cage to help facilitate this here. With that Cyber Cage going away for a second, gonna have to be weary of the sight lines created towards CT. But I mean, Orichirisu looking for the shots with the Marshal there. Kiyo to follow things up with the Sheriff does take down Dyna. Ski similarly over towards B main. Spectre and hand shots are a bit labored, but as the stun comes right on through, he's able to switch over to the Ghost and takes him right on down. Secondary weapons coming into the clutch here. Visualize so far not able to recover any kills, but one. There's the second there. Headshot comes out from Yuki. Really good damage onto the armor there, but other than that, 3 still left standing for TIMEZ, and there's a second round eco.
I mean, that's an expected round. That is the bye round. This is where the game actually begins. After the loss on the pistol round, this is definitely a more interesting and different approach to play this map, though I like how they decided to use the fact that they had the better guns to actually enforce more long-range fights, which is something that sounds like it makes a lot of sense and that we should be seeing all the time. It's surprisingly something that doesn't happen as often as you'd expect it to.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Speaking of unexpected, NRY not aware of the push coming out there. Gonna get caught out in an awkward gunfight there in the choke point. Going down to Cooney, and so far, not a lot of utility used to take control of this A site. So I mean, Visualize able to take it down. Hunter with a crazy shot there onto the head of Empty.
Spike down A.
Speaking of, we've got Empty coming into this matchup, who's actually on the extended roster for Visualize. Really excited to see her on the server again.
Spike planted.
Looking for an approach here at TIMEZ. Trying to convert this bonus round right now. But I mean, Yuki in the backside, and we saw it last time, and there it is, 3 on the round. Recovering that first rifle round. 2 does fall, and Yuki taking a lot of damage there. So good damage was done by TIMEZ on that bonus round, but nonetheless Visualize handling that first rifle round.
For the most part so far, I have to say, I like the way they approach this as a bonus round. Essentially, while obviously every round is winnable, a bonus round is a round where your goal is to just get as much fire as you can off the guns you got to keep from last round. And while it might not have been the best, it definitely was a quite good conversion, especially considering that this is the round where they actually get to play on equal terms.
Yep. And you see that slower style coming out too. Speaking of equal terms, with this being that rifle round, see already Yuki, how he wants to play around this B site and start to work his lurks here. Taking down that sentry early into the round. This time you've got that alarm bot over towards mid. Knife over towards Cat. Right now, box is being checked off by Visualize as they continue to search how they want to approach this round here. NRY still playing around the A choke point. But the hit is coming right through on Cat, but not a lot of supportive util. Gonna go for the first gunfight, but gets traded out immediately by Kiyo. The Gecko of the side of TIMEZ, and 4 still left standing for Visualize here, but Duelist down. And they're gonna have to find a way to redeem themselves going into this exec right now, and it's NRY who is a thorn in the backside because he's towards main. Hunter
Spike down A.
trying to help manage the choke points here, and they're doing it very well. And it's been such an awkward rifle so far from Visualize, Nick.
There's been definitely a more I want to say kind of aggressive approach when it comes to certain things. Definitely are a few things that are, I guess,
seconds left.
missing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I do believe that this is also kind of a slow start for the map. Again, I do not believe that anything has been decided yet. It's still really early into the map. We're seeing an interesting approach from both teams. We've seen quite a bit of changes, and even though it's small, we've seen some adaptation from both sides. So I'm just waiting to see how each team decides to play around with what they have seen so far.
Yeah, we've got the op from NRY too on times. Get that going.
Now, where to set up shop? Ah, this is a nice spot.
Similar setup here. Got Yuki from Visualize looking to take that sentry down towards B main, but Paranoia to come through off the back of the contact there, but nothing to follow up on that play. It does make him very wary. Smoke comes over towards tiles. They try to counter that, but the operator posted up here. Cooney is actually the one winning out that fight. It's a good thing Hunter's there to assist him as he's able to take that operator away and not go down into the hands of Visualize. But I mean, that opening pick right there just enables them to get onto the site. Aldrone clearing things out. Spike gonna get planted. The spam, not enough to stop things, and right now we're going into a 5v4 retake. Now, the difference maker I'm looking for in this round is going to be Yuki. He's got this mid position, and you see there are 3 from times on the side of the defenders that are pushing through this tree choke point. He's behind them, looking for the opening, goes for the first shot, doesn't land, but he does take out Ski. Euphoria with the deagle lands up. Akio, that's that rifle recovered from that first fight over towards main. And right now, no wingman for the spike, so Kyo gonna have to stick it for himself, but Euphoria taking him down, but Orichirisu with the trade. And there it is, able to get that defuse down in the 4th round for times.
They definitely need to. They're doing so well so far from both sides when it comes to many different small aspects. Again, though, this is a heavily defense-sided map.
Yeah.
So I would not personally say that, like, hey, this team is winning a few rounds, it means they win the game. Though there definitely have to be some rounds won on the attack side. It is not a map they can afford to lose many rounds for no reason. So I'm waiting to see how these guys decide to approach differently so far, because I do not know what they have in mind here.
You're absolutely right. There's a lot of format changes coming out here too, with this different approach to the map. Aldrone clearing towards mid, but it's a B approach this time for Visualize. Operator for NRY posted up towards mid. Cooney with the Blade Storm in hand. That's the first point of contact made. Dyna able to take down Orichirisu with the Sheriff. NRY landing 2 off with that operator towards Pizza. And that smoke not coming out towards Market leaves that sight line open. They took too long to capitalize off of the sight deterrence that they did have, but nonetheless, still 3 left standing. Post plant empty. Looking to make a difference here towards lane. And seeing empty on this KO is definitely very different. I'm usually used to seeing empty either on that Sentinel or controller roll. Able to take down Ski there. Really nicely done, but Keo with the spam, able to trade off empty. Cooney landing one with the Cloud, or Blade Storm rather. Over here towards lane, looking for the clutch, but the Thrifty comes out from Visualize. And there's round number 2, and what a way to do it.
And that is exactly what I was meaning. They found a way to at least play around what TIMEZ has been doing so far, and it worked quite well for them.
Yep.
One thing I have to say that I noticed Visualize has not done as much is play for space, which is something that we really often see on this map by running several different types of defaults, having people both towards mid, A, and B side to gather information before a push. Visualize has been leaning a lot to putting everyone together and get trades, which last round worked, but it is definitely a not so expected way to play this map.
Yeah. MRY. Once again, as many other times, towards the choke point, trying to use the Blade Storm to fend things off, but Hunter has a response with the Sheriff onto the head of Cooney, spamming right through the dark cover there, almost gets a second. Dizzy comes out. Right now, TIMEZ have completely claimed this site. Stopped Visualize right at the doorstep, claiming 2 bodies off the top of it. Rotate coming through from the shadows from Dyna. Takes a spike over towards B, and right now, Yuki was the one that was on this lurk. He's still going to have to clear out of this B main position. It's being held off by Ski and the Yeoman on the defensive side. Outlaw in hand. The only one to really protect this spike right now is the Yeoman on site. They've completely deterred the rest of them towards B main. And the response comes through, and this is so doable for TIMEZ right now coming into the retake. They're aware one is towards main, but they took down the site player. So Euphoria left by his lonesome mosh pit, fending him off. Spike already with the defuse coming through. Aftershock and Ski to land off to the head. And a counter thrifty by TIMEZ.
You see, this is exactly what I meant with what I said earlier about the potential this comp has. Even though there was push YouTubing.
Looking to get things back into this next round here. Same Dizzy comes over that rooftop towards A. Getting information. At some point in these rounds, I do have the expectation that they start clearing out, maybe playing behind the boxes to ante for that. But I mean, the information coming right on through, and it's just a full-on fight at this A main position and a complete flawless. Wow. What a way to handle this round here. And it happened so quickly too. Was not expecting the fight to go down that way, but I mean, what a response from the side of TIMEZ, and they look so good in this series so far. I mean, they look so comfortable around these defensive positions as well, Nick. I mean, it's looking really good. That Gecko's doing a lot of work over towards A with that Dizzy.
Absolutely, they have been getting so much value off both Breach and Gecko, actually.
Yep. Tiles trap play. Comes right on through. This time it's 3. Assisting over towards this fight, but I mean, it's so awkward. A little bit overcommitted into this endeavor here. Engagement not going to go their way. TIMEZ looking to get really aggressive off the back of that last round, but I mean, doesn't quite work out, and Visualize get that response.
This is where we see for certain plays on this map the difference between the comps. It's essentially what you mentioned before. This is a comp where the tiles play is something you actually specifically talked about. While it's definitely something that works with this comp, with the Breach Gecko, there is such a difference and such a different approach when it comes to how you do it, that in this case they just found a way to not give them the space and not let them do what they originally intended to.
Yeah. Once again, we're getting a hit over towards this B site. But look at where Ski is positioned. He's actually opting to play off, and presumably because they do have access to that lockdown in this round. Gonna have to stay alive for it, though. Cooney just dry walks towards CT there and just takes the lockdown out of the equation for this retake. But I mean, they still have that rolling thunder for the side of TIMEZ, but Cooney's still going for these fights, and it's like last time, Nick. Visualize wanting Cooney to just go in for these fights dry. And oh my goodness, the null command coming through, completely taking the rolling thunder out of this and every other ultimate from the hands of TIMEZ. Really good response from Visualize here. Only 3 left standing, but the utility is really doing the work right now. Dyna starting things off. There's the first Hunter. Does take down the trade here. Urichirisu to follow up, or Euphoria taking down Hunter for his troubles, but Keo to land off the last headshot, and there's a defuse to come through from TIMEZ. Didn't even need the ultimates.
The spike is diffused.
And this is exactly what you just mentioned. It is the fact that Cooney got some aggression and actually got really big value out of it, getting that lockdown out of that round was one of the best things that could have happened to them. Though there was just not that one person to play with him and get that trade at the end. Or it could have been just Cooney decided to play a bit more aggressively than the rest of the team wanted him to.
Yeah. And he's just on an island almost every time. During that post plant, you just see him going for those dry fights and spawn. And it's not the response you expect on this map. Like you said, fundamentals have to be strong here. And principled gameplay. Slightly different look here. And Nick, we have a gamble over towards the A side of this map from TIMEZ here. And I like this too. This is where you start to get deep into the game on this attack half for Visualize and start to understand the tendencies at which they split up. Hunter able to get the first blood there. No smoke going towards mid 3 or Chirisu to follow things up. Hunter still going for the fights. That's 3 on the round. Really nicely done from him so far. And I mean, completely shutting down that mid push from TIMEZ. Once again, you don't see the facilitation coming through, and Visualize rather. And left by his lonesome. Keo to look for the gunfight onto Empty, but she prevails. Left at 57 HP though, going for the flashbang, trying to look for mid. I mean, first op shot doesn't land for NRY, looking for the ADS onto the breach. But that op taking down Empty confirms this round here, and that's 8 for TIMEZ. They're running away with this one, Nick.
And these are the small differences that we mentioned about, or the small things that can make a huge difference in this map. As we said, it's about the small mistakes you make that will make a big difference. And so far, we have seen very few on TIMEZ side compared to Visualize. They are using their usual in a very proactive way, and they're actually setting up each other for fights or playing with each other and getting trades, and they are just not letting Visualize get away with the plays they have in mind, especially when they're pushing together and they have agents that can so easily punish that, such as Breach in this case.
Ooh, I love that. And you were just talking about it, Nick. Breach. Stun comes right on through, able to get the second peek for NRY on the operator. He's able to take them down, but 0 points to come right on through, forcing out the cloud burst for the blade storm here of NRY. And the fight is just full into the A lobby, a flawless for TIMEZ to end things off on that defensive half. I mean, that's exactly what you want if you're TIMEZ here. Visualize, have a lot of work ahead of them, but like you said, Nick, very defender-sided map, so this is the half to make that difference.
Absolutely. Again, this is a map where it's all about setting traps and playing with each other, so I really want to see them actually capitalize on getting Cooney to get some value. Even though he's definitely not having a bad game right now, he is still the one person on the team that's going positive. They need to support him and help him capitalize on the value he's getting and actually use it to win rounds instead of just get empty kills.
Yeah. Just getting away from that there. Oh my goodness, what a shot. First blood of the round within the first 5 seconds. Cooney landing off with the sheriff there. Right now, regrouping things into this. And Nick, that's the duelist on the side of TIMEZ taken out so early in this round. So they don't have access to that. And you see the IGL working the pacing of the map now, trying to figure out what they're going to have to do to regroup into this one.
Shadows traveling.
Definitely
Empty.
getting some value here of the information they're getting, but I'm really interested in seeing how they decide to approach this.
Yeah. You see how aggressive Empty is, too, towards mid. I mean, just going towards all the angles. No! Jumping right out front of Chirisu. Looking for the second on to Dyna, but Dyna able to get that trade down and Breach, handing off the reins over towards the A site. Euphoria with the classic, doing the damage at the B main choke point.
30 seconds
Spike is
left.
down towards spawn. Hunter has a chance to collect that and go towards a B hit here. I mean, but all three of Visualizer here, so this is looking so unlikely. And with only 20 seconds left.
Exactly. Time is so on the low side, though. He can at least try to get some picks and get some more money for himself. They do have to load tree.
Oh,
One
And there's the
enemy remaining.
sheriff.
wait. He's got a chance now.
He actually gets
Off
the
those
plan.
first. Yeah. Wait, but Yuki. Oof. That was close.
That
I mean, he
was
had a window
so
of opportunity
close.
there. Yeah. If he gets off that there and goes for the sheriff shots, I mean, he might be able to take Yuki down. But there it is. Pistol round converted 4 times on this defensive side.
That is definitely, though, almost a best case scenario for that round, considering it was a 1v3 with such low time left. Getting both 2 picks and spike down is at least the start.
That goes there.
Yep.
We do have visualizing on buy round here against the save, which is expected after pistol. So this is also a very big round for them, as they definitely have to try to convert this as well as they can onto a bonus round.
You're absolutely right. And visualize coming out on top of that pistol round, rather. My mistake there, but nonetheless, coming into the action of the second round once again. First blood's happening so quick into the round, and not even much utility used for that to happen. Aldrone coming through from Euphoria to re-clear towards the space. Check. Seeing the Omen there. Able to make some informed decisions now is the IGL on the side of Visualize about the way this round is starting to look. A lot of cat presence here. Hunter. They try to go for the aggression over towards Tree here, and right now, I suspect they want to take control of this mid-space. Dyna out in the open a little bit, and so they're going to regroup over towards B and try to make a stab at this.
She is so empty though. They don't have one person playing market here.
Yeah. Let's see if they run into the tripwires. He'll be able to get one, but
30 seconds.
looks like they're going to shoot them out. Very well done right now. Box is being checked off from times going into this. And like you said, if they can get this round, it'd be so good. But Yuki with the spam through the cage off the second tripwire is able to take him down. Keo forced into a corner here, and I mean, all the bodies are dropping before they can even get to the site. And I mean, a decent amount of damage done as 2 of them have been taken down. Ski trying to recover the spike here. Bulldog in hand, but Cooney going to take him down with the Guardian. And there's your second round for Visualize.
Act on my
And definitely not a
Don't
good
give them
conversion
time
for a
to
bonus round either. I mean, carrying an Ares and 2 rifles is pretty much as good as it gets.
Yeah.
This is a round that is also really important for them, as if Visualize manages to win this round, they get so much dominance coming into this half, as it messes so much with TIMEZ' economy. This is the buy round, and they are all are very low on money.
Cooney, he's got a much more passive approach this round too. Saw him towards that choke point on the pistol. And this time, with the Guardian in hand, gonna opt to play towards Heaven. Rolling Thunder on site, and Visualize have an amazing read on this round. They see that Rolling Thunder rather, in the hands of Time, so they're playing off the site here. And look at this, Nick. All 5 are already here as the spike is getting planted, so we've got this full retake ready to go. Nano Swarm stopping things over towards Heaven momentarily. Aftershock to allow them to get off to the site to play comfortable post-plant positions, but Cooney already activated into this one, not aware of the one towards left side Hell. And just like that, all the bodies drop onto the retake, and Times have handled it so well. And that's it.
Win. Show me where to go.
That is such an important round, I guess, for Times in this case. This round they had to win, and they definitely delivered exactly what they needed. I do still, while there were definitely some flaws and it ended up not working out, I do also like the small detail on Visualize's retake was the fact that they were ready so early on. They started the retake before Spike was even planted, while they were, Times were still trying to get it down and just miss the timing.
Yeah. And that timing is so important too for the fights to be comfortable for the team. Dyna looking to take the fights over here.
Blinding.
It's going to take down one, but Hunter with the response. I mean, look at the play around the cloudburst. Not able to get out of dodge as NRY. Hunter left by himself. Once again, such an awkward fight in this mid round, but it looks so good from the side of Visualize. Force still standing. And a very quick response into this round. I mean, Nick, this game is just smooth sailing right now. Response after response, but Visualize so far in this half coming out on top.
That I want to see more. What I liked that I get to see from Visualizing so far is the fact that they have been setting different types of traps. Well, we don't see the normal B main aggression, tiled aggression, or a lobby aggression. They're definitely playing off U2 and capitalizing off it quite well.
Yeah.
So they've gotten so much value out of that.
And Cooney's in a good spot for this as well. Playing towards that left side position. Take coming through. Cooney able to land off 2 here. Not much support needed, but going into this eco, I mean, this is a round you expect to go this way. But the only issue that we see here from TIMEZ is not a lot of damage done to Visualize, so not even any economical benefits that we can really speak about coming out of this round. So we have Oritidisu 1v5 Bucky in hand, looking to do that damage.
Stealing sight.
That's all she wrote.
And that is actually almost the perfect time for what I said. We saw a more, I want to say, unconventional trap for this. Setting angles or crosses that is not something you normally expect, yet actually getting value off the contact each player was getting. I just want to see how TIMEZ decides to approach this to actually manage to get a few rounds in. We have seen them run more like defaults, I want to say, quite a bit, and they have gotten quite a bit of info, but they haven't been able to actually get some value off that and capitalize on it.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with this comp, having that breach and Gecko, you want to see them taking more fights. Because, I mean, you can't really get a lot of active information. You don't have that Sovi, you don't have that KO. You only really have that Gecko who's got that Wingman and Dizzy, respectively, to look for information, and that Aftershock on the side of breach to get people out in trench positions. But you're totally right. Very unconventional in the way that they're playing the style, and I think they need to play a little bit more to the comp that they have here. Utilize those resources a bit more to get those fights out for Jet.
Here.
And look at that, they're actually playing so disciplined on Visualize's side. They are not, they're just playing with info, just jiggling and trying to see where each of them are.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
Hit coming over here towards A, so TIMEZ definitely going for this one, as this is a rifle round.
Placing swarm grenade.
Yet they're going to have to look for success because they've been having a hard time so far. This attack half retake starting to commence for the side of Visualize. Paranoia comes through. Ski taken out of the equation for just a second, but Orichirisu in a playmaking position, able to take one down. It's a 1v2 for Ski here. Cyber Cage and the gun barrel can be seen right through it by Yuki, so the spam comes through. And Visualize, as you said, very disciplined, able to handle that 3v2 there.
Team Ace.
It definitely shows that this is a map they have worked on. While their attack could definitely use some work in the way, some flaws there, their defense is looking very disciplined, and they're actually getting so much value of small things. Even like they're trying to get something out of almost every piece of utility they're throwing, and it's actually going so well for them right now. Like you said, the Breach Gecko here, as much as it's something that can very much work on defense, on attack is where it truly shows what it is lacking, which in this case is info. As they just get info after sound cues, and they so far unable to actually capitalize off it and get value around what Visualize is doing.
I mean, this round is just a tale of struggle for TIMEZ. Saw there right at the beginning, using the Hunter's Fury. The Omen on the side of TIMEZ, and that's their smokes, was taken down right at the beginning there, so they don't have those smokes going into this. And they're not even playing Cypher, so there's no Cyber Cages to even supplement that. And all they've got here is that Breach and that Gecko. Maybe even those Cloudbursts from NRY to try to get into this. There it is. Sheriff Shot comes through, but it's going to have to take a hell of a lot more. And Visualize completely cleaning house in this take right here. Dyna with 3 on the round, and that's it. Discipline over here towards mid, and they all just drop.
I mean, losing your Omen early into the map like this is such a rough loss. It's probably the worst one you can have, as it's a map that has, especially when you decide to approach towards mid, it has such long extremities that you need those smokes to actually be able to push due to how many angles there are. And that is exactly what Visualize abused there. They got the early info on from Dyna peeking in market and then immediately fell back to get across between market and their spawn.
Yep. And once again, Discipline from Visualize here, very aware that that Rolling Thunder is a part of the equation from TIMEZ going into this round. So you see them playing off, but that peek from Dyna over towards Tree, able to get one down, but she gets punished. But once again, retake, very strong numbers here from Visualize. They have a lot to work with this here as well. No command coming through from Empty here. Going to go ahead and take the door out of the equation, but Orichirisu has used that from the shadows to get himself inserted behind the team, so pretty soon they're going to have to be aware of that and start to deal with it. Euphoria looking for where it's coming from towards Heaven here. Maybe a little bit of a mouse disconnect there, but right back into it. Dizzy coming right above to help things out, and there it is. The from the shadows from Orichirisu puts him in a position where he can come into the retake and take 2 down, and that is 11 on the board for TIMEZ. And that's their response.
And that is, in my opinion, the way you have to play a comp like this. You have to try things that are not expected and unconventional, because you're not running a conventional comp. You cannot expect the normal way to play this map to work for you. If you're not using the agents you'd normally be using for that, you have to try things that would be different. Which, even in many cases, people could consider it bad, that you're trying a different comp. Something that would normally be considered bad could very well work for you.
Yeah. Empty. Completely caught out here. Thrash to come through. Already stunned. And the aftershock. I mean, the utility so damn good from TIMEZ there. At the beginning, Dyna able to take one down over towards mid. But I mean, this masterclass towards the B site is still underway. Gonna recover the Thrash, so you have that second usage going into this. Wingman over towards the spike plant. And they're trying to keep this lane space. Looks like they really want to take them down before they get into this retake. But Visualize starting to close in on the positions. Spy cam to get information. Taps coming through to populate the question marks onto the minimap. But Orichirisu takes down Dyna. And there's the smokes gone for the side of Visualize. You see that Thrash coming over towards CT. It looks like they want to fight ahead here. Go for the peek, and that's it. Cooney left buys Lonesome, goes for 1, goes for 2, takes him down. But Ski able to take the trade, and that's it for TIMEZ. 12th round on the board, and this is now map point.
You see, that again is exactly what we're talking about in the beginning of this game. The comp they're running is a comp that is really good when it comes to aggression, and they can get so much value out of that. And it seems like they're actually starting to realize it, and instead of just trying to get spike down and play post plant, they're actually trying to get early picks and then play more aggressively and actually use their util to get picks instead of stalling in that post plant situation.
Stay down.
Ooh. Keo punished off that dry peek there. And Gecko, and that's the only information, Nick, that TIMEZ can actually get actively on their side, and he goes down already to the operator of Cooney. So you see them starting to speed things up going into the take here, but it's not going too well so far. They're going to have to get onto the site where they know that they can take the space, and they do. Door going to be closed, spike going to be planted by Hunter here. He's performing so well in this map so far. Really well done in this breach role, but Visualize with the numbers advantage. Looking to come into things, but Hunter gonna try to look for that first pick. Does take it down. Paranoia to come through towards Jenny to force him out. The stun comes through, but it wasn't enough to help him out. But the team on the side of Visualize working together to get those picks. At Ichirisu on this mid lurk. They don't know. Takes down Cooney. There's one. There's two. And a clutch from Ichirisu to finish things off on this first map for TIMEZ. Wow. What a way to end things off, Nick. I mean, that repositioning over towards mid was so good from him.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Such an unexpected way to approach this post plant, and such a good one. I mean, they knew that that they were sitting main, and instead decided to approach from tree because they got those few extra seconds by their teammates playing side, and they actually got to catch them so off guard.
Yeah, I mean, that was an absolute masterclass right there. And I just want to highlight, I mean, our MVP here on the leaderboard is actually Hunter. And this right here, he's an emergency sub, actually, Nick, in this series for the side of TIMEZ. And he's an emergency sub pulled from RPG. And I think this is, what, the third or fourth time we've seen an RPG member perform at the top of the leaderboard as an emergency sub in someone's game. It means really good things for that roster. Need I say that they're a top contender in the tournament, but Hunter, exceptional job done here on the breach on Ascent. And this isn't a role that you're used to seeing here. Very unconventional, just like we talked about during that agent select. But they played it well. I mean, it was definitely a comp you and I were very intrigued about. And I think that they showed the strengths of it, definitely. But on the attack side, we saw the weaknesses. Visualize took away a lot of those rounds, but able to close it out at the end of the day.
From what I saw, it's definitely something that they put some work in, though on the attack side, it is exactly how we said. It is a comp that against a team that has discipline and has at least decent fundamentals. On this map, it is so hard to manage to push aside and capitalize on the information you get without having information. That is exactly what that comp is lacking. However, once they did manage to find some openings and some mistakes made from their defense, they actually started playing so well. They started getting so much more aggressive and getting those picks, which is what won them so many rounds. I do not even think we got to see the spike go off any time that half. Instead, every time they won a round after in post plant, it was cause they got all the kills.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, their retakes were looking so good, and that's exactly what they tried to stop. They did not let them get together and start a proper retake. And I think that's exactly why they managed to win that half.
Yeah. Definitely an exceptional job done. And once again, I mean, Cooney, the duelist on the side of Visualize, definitely have to give him props for performing so well in this match, because as we saw in the stat line that we pulled up shortly before this series, Nick, he had a very hard time in the first series that they had here in the tournament, but he has definitely shown a turn of events in this so far. And just by looking at the stat line here, 5 first bloods, 21 and 15, so a monumental improvement stat-wise and performance-wise from what we've seen in his first series. But I'm still not too convinced that they have a system that really plays around him well, and he's still taking a lot of these dry fights and moving forward by himself, forced onto islands. And so I expect to see this difference on Abyss, because that was where the map they struggled the most, and that's TIMEZ' map pick. This map right here on Ascent, this was Visualize's map pick, so them losing this out and then going into TIMEZ' map pick on Abyss, where Visualize struggled before, I mean, this series is already shaken out to look really difficult for Visualize. They're going to have to find that response here.
Absolutely. I mean, losing your map pick is definitely not what you'd like in a series like this. However, as weird as Abyss might be when it comes to its playstyle, and I'm going to actually quote you on this one, it is arguably one of the maps that is the closest to Ascent.
Yep. Yep.
So I definitely do believe it's a map where they do have a chance in. Though it's also a map where you can be a lot more innovative and try different comps. So yeah. I feel like we're not gonna see as much of a difference as like the comps they run, as much as the way they decide to play them.
You're absolutely right. And you know, with Abyss being a map that plays to similar pieces that Ascent would, I mean, especially mid, just being a lot longer, that catwalk position, such deeper sight lines, and it's a more intricate way to have a split over towards A and then towards B. I mean, it's kind of like splitting A on Icebox. You have to really get back into their spawn to be able to get a split push over towards there. So it's more like you take a lot of that main space, and so you know, you're gonna have to play together in situations like that. And I mean, visualize, that's the style that they had on their attack. You and I talked about it. They had that Cypher on that lurk, and I mean, most of the times it was just a 4-stack in other places. And so I think that when it comes to Abyss, that's a style that you can definitely get away with. And so I think we're gonna see something like that from Visualize in terms of their gameplay. But folks, we don't want to keep you waiting too long in the action here. We are going to go over to Abyss after this short intermission, but stick around. You won't want to miss it. All right, folks, welcome back to Visualize versus Times. Now, Ascent going 13-9 in favor of Times, taking away Visualize's map pick, and now we're moving into Times' map pick of Abyss, with Visualize starting on defense. And one of the things I expect to probably see here, maybe 2 Jet players, you know, I don't know, probably on Cooney and NRY, but, you know, they might surprise us because we saw 2 Neons before here, Nick. But in terms of comps, what do you think to expect here?
I am really curious to what they decide to play. I do believe we're going to see some of the more, I want to say, I guess, standard agents for this map, such as like a Cypher, a KO, a Jet or Neon on the duelist side. But honestly, for this map, for the rest of the slots, we have seen such different comps. We have seen stuff like Sova, like with KO, but we've also seen agents like Breach or Gecko run a few times. Or even on the Sentinel side, we've seen either no Sentinel or ones like Deadlock.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure on what we're going to see.
Yeah.
But this is also one of the maps where you get so much room for innovation.
I agree. We even in VCT, I mean, we saw a lot of different styles at the jump. Most of the time we saw that Ascent comp, but with the Cypher, we saw that Jet, Sova, KO, Cypher, Omen. And I mean, G2 threw a complete anomaly at us with their comp by the likes of Astra, Viper, Killjoy, Sova, Yoru. So there's a lot of different ways that you can play this map and think about it. We've even seen some teams bring out the Gecko. We've seen Harbor from teams like Leviathan. So I know that a lot of these guys here in our tournament specifically do watch a lot of ACT and take a lot of inspiration from high-level players, as they should. And so I definitely expect to see innovation here on this map, definitely considering the Breach Gecko that we saw from Times in that first map. And speaking of that Breach, I just want to highlight Hunter here, who was our match MVP. Amazing scoreline here. 287 ACS, 25 kills with the 3 assists, 4 first bloods of his own, and 85 econ rating. So Hunter doing a really good job in this initiator role. So I'm definitely looking for him to be a difference maker here on Abyss.
I absolutely agree with that. And I'm curious to see what role they decide to go for. As Abyss is a map where you can try to run something like double smokes. So I am curious to see what they decide to do, or if they would decide to stick with that double initiator, or they would like to try something different, considering Hunter is not the player that is normally in their team.
Yep. Exactly, yeah. So he's going to have to either flex to the comfortability of the squad and what they want to play, or vice versa. And we've seen that as well, especially when CJ, who actually used to be on RPG, who he isn't now, recently took an exodus from the roster. He's on Corner Campers now. But CJ, when he had subbed in for, I think it was Visualize in their first matchup, correct me if I'm wrong, and he played a particular comp there that he decided, actually. So it kind of shows you the tale of how these teams like to utilize their subs and how much, you know, effect that those subs have on the game alone. And speaking of agents, I want to also now talk about the comparison between the 2 duelists here. Cooney on the side of Visualize and NRY on the side of Times. Looking at that last game, they had very even performances. I mean, Cooney had 252 ACS, NRY had 243. They had 5, 4 first bloods respectively. Econ rating is where the stat lines, you know, fluctuates a little bit more, but both these duelists coming into the series, I mean, had a good response there on Ascent. So on Abyss, I'm also looking towards these 2 for their respective teams to make a lot of differences in that duelist role.
Absolutely. I mean, again, duelist, while often expected to be a role that is the one to get a lot of frags and all that, it is a role that they're what they need to do in the round is get space with their team and manage to get some value that does not necessarily have to be picks. And I feel like while neither of them was having like a great game, they definitely got quite a bit of value off their positioning and the way they played.
Yeah, absolutely right. And positioning is everything. Now, we talked about the comps going into this, but Cooney instantly locking onto that Neon. And that is the game plan for Visualize coming into this. And there's the Breach coming through as well. Sova just as expected. And Cypher Omen to finish off the comp. And we've seen something similar to this in the first opening matches here in this tournament. Now, on the flip side, TIMEZ, I see an Astra hover here. Now, I love Astra right now, Nick, in the current meta. She's got her 5 Astral stars back, and she's just better than ever. So I'm excited to see if they play her on this map.
Astra as an agent, I've always enjoyed both playing and watching so much. She has such potential to get value. And speaking of, we also see the deadlock that we mentioned before, and the Gecko. Definitely a bit of a more unexpected comp, though I won't say that it's something that definitely has quite a bit of potential.
And the thing that we usually talk about, Nick, in these comps when we see those solo deadlocks is lurk potential, right? Most of the time when it comes to the Sentinel role, especially when it's Cypher or Killjoy, maybe even Chamber at times, you know, you start to question, okay, what's the lurk style going to look like? And those are agents that you expect players to lurk on, right? But Deadlock is one of those Sentinels that's kind of a key going into XX, in my opinion, especially with that Gravnet. And you've also got Gecko in this comp, who's got that giant mosh pit, both very good abilities to force out entrenched positions. And Deadlock's really good at throwing that barrier mesh towards the choke point extremities to stop those retakes from coming through, and then even the sonic sensors on the spike. So Deadlock's not really a lurking Sentinel, but the lurking role that I do think we potentially have on the side of TIMEZ is that Astra. I think that because Astra's got that global, you know, presence in terms of the way she's able to place her stars, I think that on attack, which is where TIMEZ is starting, we're going to see a lot of Astra lurks here.
Absolutely, and I was just about to say that. This and this side, it is the opposite. That Deadlock is an agent that, especially on a map like this, you want to have with you. Both on A and on B side, she can get such good value off her wall to just at least store and not let the defense to play more aggressively when you're trying to take side and get that spike down. But with the Astra in here, it is the exact opposite. Someone does not need to be with you. As long as the comms are good and we say what we need to, getting into a good lurk position or trying to catch a good timing, and she can still have big impact on getting that spike down.
Yep. You're absolutely right. And folks, with the berries coming right up, here we are getting started with the pistol round of potentially the last map of this series between Visualize and TIMEZ. And our White coming over towards mid, shooting out that vent door very early here. You can already see how the game plan is going to be. Put that seed of doubt in Visualize on that defensive side. Create these mid openings for the later rounds. Cooney with the information towards A. Confirming that not a lot of attention towards here so far, but look at how much prioritization is towards mid. Even Keo going for that first blood against Empty, but Empty prevailing. And Hunter, he is kind of left by his lonesome in this vent position, and like you and I said during this post, or pre-game rather, this is a very intricate way to get an A split going.
Absolutely, and again, this is a map that, as much as you can try different things, it is also very punishing, as it is very easy to have off angles and get picks, and then just fall back to safety to not give the enemy a chance, or even the slightest opportunity to fight back.
30 seconds left.
Yep. But I love how they've handled this so far on the side of TIMEZ. Hunter, he was left by his lonesome over here, but they regroup and help him out on this fight. Empty, with 3 on the round already. She has done so much work for Visualize. The only one with kills into this pistol round for that team. And here it is, a takeover towards the A site. And I mean, they have so much to deal with. Cooney is the first one. Going for the pick there, and Yuki with a quick wrap around the site, but Empty taking down Ski on that bomb plant, and that's 4 on the round for Empty, and a wonderful pistol for Visualize.
I mean, that is such a good start into the game for them. Pistol is arguably one of the most important rounds into a game. It is a start and pretty much guarantees your second round, as well as give you the chance to get your economy going. So I really... bonus round is also a round that I'm curious how they decide to approach on this map, though that is definitely such a good start for them.
Amazing start indeed. We're getting a different look here already. Approach over towards the A site. And what's interesting about this round too is they have the full Cypher set up here, but there's also 3 members. It's the spy cam that's actually watching that mid information instead of empty. So you already see Visualize trying to get a read into format changes by TIMEZ here. Astral Star is getting ready off the back of grabbing the orb. One going to get collected there, moving right into the trap wire. And RY going to go down. Recon Bolt going to confirm the presence towards backside here. And I mean, we've got a full stop for TIMEZ here. Going to have to regroup into this one, but it's only an eco round, so no harm, no foul. This is definitely a round, Nick, where you want to try to get as much damage as you can if you are at TIMEZ.
Absolutely. I mean, that is usually the point of a save round, as much as, again, every round is winnable and you should try to get as much as you can. Even getting some picks is really good because it makes a conversion harder for them,
30
as that
seconds
is what
left.
actually hurts if you lose.
Yep.
Losing a save round is fine, while losing buy round against a bonus is probably one of the worst things that can happen to you into a half, as it gives such an advantage to your enemy when it comes to their economy.
Yeah,
Last
so
player
well said.
standing.
Ski gonna get some damage here. Does actually get one. Dyna getting right off the defuse. They're able to take down Ski there, and that is 2 bodies dropped for Visualize, but looking at it here, they've got 2 Spectres and a Guardian Rifle to keep there in full armor. So, not much damage done there. Visualize coming into this round comfortably.
Go, go, go. I'm out of here.
I'm very curious to see how they decide to approach this. I mean, so far this is such an important round for them, and I want to see what they decide to do with them. It looks like they're heading towards the B side, exactly for what you said in the pre-game as well. We're getting everyone together to approach the site.
Yeah, and Visualize have a similar setup here. 3 over towards A with a Cypher setup. Paris somehow out of nowhere gets that pick right through the dark cover there with the Ghost, and that's a good start so far for Visualize. Aldrone to come through. Look to see if the push is coming over towards B. Chat, is this real? And it indeed is, as the shots continue to come through. Lots of warning shots from TIMEZ right now, Nick, and it looks like they're trying to force out rotations, but there is no lurk this round, so
Here.
full commitment coming through, and RY already positioned himself ahead of that dark cover placed by Dyna towards the choke point, but they don't even know each other. In the positions, looking for it. There it is. Nova Pulse comes through to help NRY in the engagement, taking down Dyna, then Paris. And I just love the surgical way at which TIMEZ have approached this map. They're very aware that Visualize is on that bonus round, so you see how careful they're approaching every single step of their engagements, and it is textbook.
Absolutely. I mean, taking their time when it comes to the push, making sure that they're always together in order to get those trades in case something goes wrong.
And NRY still looking for the damage onto the site. Yuki able to take one down. I mean, the damage looks really good for Visualize right now, but NRY with 4 on the round, able to cap things off here for TIMEZ in the first rifle round for the team. And there it is, but Nick, 3 went down on the side of TIMEZ there, and although they can recover those rifles, it's not too good for the economy, though.
Definitely not the best, though we did see a rather interesting playstyle, which I would like to point out, as they tried to mix in a way, playing more passively and just playing post-plant, as well as having someone to play aggressively and try to just be a nuisance to the enemy as they try to approach the retake, which in this case was NRY, who was just playing sight, unlike his 2 teammates.
Look how aggressive it is towards A this time, too. Just walking right up. Hunter, how does he win that out? Hunter killing both on the side of TIMEZ, and it looks like he had to stand still there to clip it. He felt really good about that one, but just a dry fight taken over towards A main. And TIMEZ have prevailed. But Dyna is the 3rd Thorn here in the bush. Looking to defend things on this A site. Going for the swing. Does take down Hunter. But Keo able to come through with the trade off the back of the Dizzy, and right now, visualize numbers dwindling. And Paris on the flank now. Left to do a lot of work here, but look at this re-clear. Absolutely lovely from the side of TIMEZ, but he's caught running out with the knife. But Ski, much more aware of the positioning, and Yuki left by their lonesome to clutch things up for Visualize. Gonna have to save the rifle.
Ooh. You're immediately going for that late flank though, and actually gets the value of it. Does not let them keep the gun. I mean, this is such a... I won't say a different approach from what you normally expect on this map, though it is definitely something that is really nice to see. Like, I feel like this is something that actually works, and we just haven't seen enough on this map. Instead of playing the normal approach of just getting a bit of info and then exploding somewhere, they are slowly approaching and then having everyone together and maybe getting a bit of info like towards the mid side.
And speaking of mid side, Nick, look at this. The fight comes through here. I love it too because they're trying to force out these close range gunfights. Paris only has a stinger. So she's trying to go for the fights here. Playing around the pillar so far, able to do it well. Keo looking for the pick here, but once again, TIMEZ, so much patience in that endeavor there. So they're able to capitalize off the back of that. Hunter taking down empty backside with the shock bolt, and Dyna able to recover the Bucky. Hunter already working his way through. It's a solo endeavor from him there, but the Bucky, little too long range, is able to take down Omen on that side as Hunter and Ordichidisu to follow things up on the Astra. And there it is, the third round for TIMEZ.
Definitely a different approach to this round. They went more for a default push. Though this is, again, what I was saying earlier, the moment they got some information, we saw that Astra immediately leave A and go towards mid to actually get those 2 picks, and they guaranteed that without losing anyone. They're so early or so quick to start playing aggressively the moment they see they have an advantage somewhere.
That's where you want to see those adaptations too. I like that you say that. The moment you see an advantage somewhere, capitalize off the back of it. That's something we didn't quite see from them in their first series, so we talked about it. Will we see the change? And they're answering that question here on Abyss so far. And Lil Bro going for the plan onto the spike, but Ordichidisu punished out. And even the wingman get caught out onto the spike plant there. But I mean, a full push came through towards this vent position. And TIMEZ have completely taken down the numbers. Dyna looking to follow up here, does get the headshot, but only 30 HP left, and that's all she wrote. NRY gonna take her down. And there it is for TIMEZ.
Exactly, and this is exactly what we said during Agent Select as well. This was a perfect example of how Astra can bring so much value into this map. I mean, with the ult coming in and the 2 smokes, they managed to not only make taking side really easy, but they got that vent push without giving any information about it, as they couldn't hear the doors being broken.
Yep. Much more passive approach towards B here, Nick. Sova. Paris by themselves is just walking up mid here. Looking to get a bit of a lurk here, but Sonic Sensor going to be placed down, and caught in the animation of the thrash is going to be Keo. So does take him down, but it's Dyna who's the one that was actually landed on from that thrash and is taken down. Sheriff shots from Yuki looking really good, able to land the neural theft, and Overdrive comes through. And I mean, look at this. Visualize looking to convert this round here, and all of the numbers just like that at the snap of a finger and a blink of an eye completely go down for TIMEZ, and Visualize converting that round there.
Such a good approach into this round. I mean, they had a read for an A push, which was not correct. However, they immediately repositioned so well and got some early picks, catching people off guard. And I saw actually Empty was even ready to used a breach or coming into the retake and ended up keeping it. So that is something very big they have going into this round.
Yeah. But Empty's playing in an aggressive position this round. Paris. Hunter's Fury comes through a bit early here, looking for the jet, and he does grab it. NRY taken down ahead of the take coming into the round here. But map control taken towards his B site for the side of TIMEZ. GravNet landing onto the teammate, but no harm, no foul, as there's nobody to contest this space right now. And Empty, as you said, does have that rolling thunder, so it's definitely possible. And Nick, on this map, usually when you plant towards B, you get off the site and you go main. So if Empty gets this kill here, which she does, she would have been able to regroup and use that rolling thunder behind them, but gets traded out there and completely takes out the chances of that ultimate in this round for Visualize in the retake. But full HP on Paris and Yuki. Aldrone confirms the positioning, and they're going for this one. They're going to have to here. Hunter right through the cages. Check him, PC. Pushing in off the back of the Nova Pulse. Hunter with 3 on the round. Really nice shots from him, and he's turning up in this series. Visualize landing off that round there. Or TIMEZ, rather.
Absolutely. And that is, once again, exactly what I said a few rounds ago with Hunter instead of NRY this round. What I see that they are doing quite a bit on TIMEZ's side is the fact that when they have an advantage when it comes to people left into the round, instead of just playing first plant, they have those extra people play towards site and try to just be nuisances and not let Visualize approach that retake as they would like to.
Yeah. I mean, this Hunter guy, he is just really good. Turning up in this series. Speaking of, yeah. Every single time, his micro is so good. Just winning every single gunfight he goes for, and look at him. He gets that pick. He's just running on the B side himself. Taking that space. Spikes over towards A, though. In the hands of Keo. Got that wingman, but I mean, as Hunter has completely cleared this side on his own, with the assistance of Ski here, they're able to take the space. Full rotation coming out from Visualize. In this round, we did have the Rolling Thunder in the picture once again, but I mean, it was used so prematurely. The barrier mesh not even handled before they go into the retake here, and low HP for everybody on TIMEZ. Annihilation coming through from Deadlock, taken down by Yuki and Kuni. Following things up there, they were all low HP, and it was looking really unlikely, especially with the missing Rolling Thunder, but they convert that one, Nick, and that's the 4th round for Visualize.
Absolutely, and such a big round for them, as TIMEZ had such a different approach. They had that Astra try to get that late leg towards mid. However, Yuki decided to do the exact same thing on TIMEZ's side and ended up winning that gunfight. And then also killing Deadlock, who was waiting to play first round and get that pick. Had a really good position and could not get any value out of it.
Yep.
This goes here.
And we're seeing this comp, especially on TIMEZ, play out the way that we expected it to, with that Astra being the lurk. Whenever they go for those insertion plays, which last round it kind of was, Astra was the one actually left over there towards mid to be the backstabber. So definitely an exceptional job done, understanding the true essence of this comp for TIMEZ. Thresh coming through towards back site, NRY, not with a lot of help. Trying to look for the first 2 shots, not able to land it off, but Yuki on this Cypher has always done such a great job. Is he aware? One has come up there, got right into the cyber cage ahead of the barrier mesh, and is able to take down the Cypher on the side of Visualize. Retake coming right on through. Gonna try to get spammed out. Dyna, it's down to 20 HP here, but look at the crossfires. Paris, it would be the backstabber for where Dyna was originally positioned, and how have they turned around these numbers? How have they found themselves in a winning position coming into the round here? Looking for the spam, takes down the first, looking for the second, and the spam wasn't enough. Dyna gets the full defuse for Visualize, and Keo wondering where it all went wrong.
We have repeated this so many times, but Visualize has such a nice retake so far. I mean, once they get in position here, they actually play really well with each other
Right
when
there.
they're all together, which is what we saw using an Ascent and Attack as well. They often played together, and that's how they won the rounds that they did. And now the retakes, TIMEZ needs to get a bit more aggressive and disrupt them and just not let them do as they please, which is what they failed to do last round.
Yeah,
Deploying drone.
You are divided.
very well said. Now, going into this, we've got that Cosmic Divide coming out pretty early, but it's just to split that B site in half. Horizontally, too, from the perspective of TIMEZ here. So they're taking really slow control of this one. At the same time, Cooney's ahead of it, though. Going to get punished out. And that's that island positioning that you and I talked about all the time. Wingman getting invested through it, but Dizzy going there, and the shots of NRY landing onto the head of Paris. Takes her out of this equation, and once again, 2 left into this retake for Visualize. But they're against 5 this time. I don't know if this is likey. Harness Fury also in the hands of Hunter. And he's just been such a demon. Kyo taking the first one down. NRY peeking off that contact, taking down Yuki. And there it is. The response from TIMEZ in round 6 for them.
Before the switch.
And here is that exact aggression. I mean, they had somewhat of a drop going on, however they were unable to get those multiple picks. I mean, Dyna managed to get that trade off Cooney's position, but was unable to get that second one, and ended up getting faded as well. It looks like they're going for a different approach then. It looks like they're actually going to more heavily towards B now and letting mid completely clear, only with a Cypher cam, which is definitely an approach we haven't seen so far in general on this map.
This is definitely a very interesting approach here. Empty, looking to be a difference maker, playing this very aggressive position. Trapwire is going to get shot out. Empty looking for the spam onto the Jet, and actually does take him down.
Spike planted.
And going into the retake, that is the Duelist taking off of the side of TIMEZ. They do have a Hunter's Fury though, so they're able to play off from the shadows coming through. Quick rotation, but overdrive from Cooney. Last time he used it, went so well. Sonic sensors towards main, like we said, that deadlock in the post plant, so hard to get through, but immediately zapped right onto the head of Ski. Hunter trading things off, going into it. Paris, the second layer of the aggression. Hunter's Fury comes right on through Dyna, and you see how much they need this round. You see how much they want this round. The Thrash coming through. Mosh Pit to delay things even more. Dyna looking for the shots, but Hunter always good for one in those engagements. And there's round number 7 for TIMEZ, and taking away this first half.
Definitely closer half than what we saw on Ascent, which is something that's really nice to see. It looks like this is a map that both teams have walked at least up to a certain point. And we've seen some more interesting approaches and some different plays, as well as, again, some innovation. Though I am really curious to see how Visualize decides to take this attack approach, as this is a map that you can actually push as 4 or 5 more than you'd normally do on other maps to enter the round, and that is something that they look so good at doing.
Got it. Concealment.
And we get to get our first look at Visualize on attack here with the Neon Comp coming into this series. Cooney already coming towards that backside control, and it's done very well. Paris able to land one down on Ski as well, but Key out towards Heaven with the Sheriff, able to get a trade through, left on 73 HP. Next engagement towards Cooney, wins that one out. That's that island we talked about, but that dry gunfight, he's so used to them at this point that he's able to prevail. NRY looking to deal with the Trapwire on the flank, shooting it out. Trying to decide if he wants to go for the flank or not, but it looks like it comes through. The spams onto Dino through the box is so good. Gets that onto Empty. And right now, Dyna waiting into the corner. Looking for the spam still. Such an awkward engagement from both. Aldrone to come through. They're going to have to speed things up going into this retake as the spike starts to change tempos here. There it is. Dyna forced out of the dark cover off the tap of the spike. And right now, Hunter not able to do the damage with the Sheriff in hand. Yuki finishing things off. Cooney with 3 on the round. And that's the pistol for Visualize.
Go, go, go.
I mean, that is definitely what there is what you said about Cooney being pretty much alone though they were able to get quite a bit of value on it because they also had their teammate playing tower there. They had the info that most players were site, so they did not expect Kuni to be so far away from their team, and that actually ended up getting them 3 kills into this round.
Yep. And look at this, Nick. Right on round 2, we get to see TIMEZ 4-man walk up mid while the deadlock holds down that B space. They've completely conceded A in this situation. I love this look, but the problem is it's towards A. That's where Visualize are going. And as that noise comes through and NRY does give those callouts, you see the rotations on the map coming through from TIMEZ, but it's going to be towards the flank. So they're going to have to wait for this one to be a little bit more methodical going into it. Spectre lands onto the head of Keo, but HDD so really good for the trade. And that he usually is good for, but Hunter completely punished coming out of that Vents position, and that choke point so hard to deal with, especially when you don't have the gun advantage. Empty off the back of the flashpoint, able to take down on Ichirisu, and damage done pretty good so far. 2 taken down on Visualize, but Ski left by themselves. 3 on the round for Yuki, and that's all she wrote.
Like you said, that is such a nice approach. I'm a really big fan of that approach for a saver on this map, going for that mid push. It was definitely a bit on the unlucky side, as at this point of the map, I would say it's pretty much a 50-50 what side they decide to push. And they ended up pushing A. They managed to get quite a good position, but they just were in such good positions that they were not able to do much, especially on the save round.
I'm out of here. Barrier deployed. Over there.
And Visualize, they've changed the format so many times so far this game, showing us a lot of different aggression towards different extremities every round. And this time it's towards B. Ski looking to handle things here, but the shots are a bit labored. And they're fighting together so well, Nick, right now. Visualize. Hunter looking to do more damage, but left on 46 HP. Gonna have to back out of that one. Tuck tail. Now it's a 3v5 retake here. Still definitely possible while the Sova and the Neon are down, but I mean, might be a little unlikely here. Mosh Pit forcing him off. Yuki trying to stay onto the angle, but completely gets deleted. Kuni only left to 30 HP, scanned out by the recon bolt, and there it is. Body's starting to drop for Visualize, and this is the outcome that I was looking for in this round. Empty, going for the stun onto the spike, onto the defuse, and a response from Visualize going into this is coming out right now. Hunter, there it is, looking for Empty as she jumps across the space there, gets the 3rd on the round, and as the wingman goes for the defuse there, they don't shoot it out. Does it have time? It does. There it is. That's the retake for TIMEZ.
I mean, that is such a close round. I mean, coming down to less than a second into that defuse, and Wingman was so close to getting off that spike there. Definitely a real nice approach, especially coming into that retake, getting a few early picks and actually getting some really good trades in. I mean, they even went for that late aggression by Empty going into danger, which unfortunately did not really work for them.
Yeah.
Barrier deployed.
Do we have another V push here though?
Looks like it.
It's
And Ski is by
definitely
himself.
against the read.
No charges.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Kuni's been so much fun to watch on this overdrive too, Nick.
Absolutely.
Pushing right through with it. There it is. Once again on an island though. As much as he likes to go for those pushes, I mean, completely punished. Running right into the enemy team. And so the retake starts to get commenced here, but a fight over towards the flank there as Odichirisu goes down. Got one of his own though with the classic, so really good stuff. Tap onto the spike, going to have to force them out in just a second. Empty taking one down, but Hunter onto the head with the Sheriff, and he's done it so well. That's 1, that's 2, looking for 3. NRY gonna claim the body there. And what a wonderful retake there from TIMEZ. And I mean, Kuni wanted to get aggressive there, but you saw his entire team reposition towards main. While he was doing that, Nick, once again, completely disconnected. And there's the timeout.
Absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what we've been saying. This type of aggression is something that needs to have someone with you to get those trades, or it needs to be really early into the round, especially using an ability like Waiver Drive. You can very easily get a few picks if you manage to isolate fights. However, we had 3 people waiting there. So it's something that it's a situation where you can very easily be traded out, and you do not have a teammate to even support you with utility coming into that fight.
Yep.
This playstyle is something that has worked for them so far into this half. However, they have lost the last 2 rounds as TIMEZ looks like they're actually starting to find a way past that to play around what they've been doing so far. So we need to see some sort of change, and I'm really curious to see how they decide to approach that and what they decide the change should be for the rest of the half.
You're right. And I think that's a moment where Paris needs to talk about Cooney going on those islands. I mean, they've got a breach in this comp for a reason, Nick, and I feel like they need to use it. When Cooney wants to go for that aggression, let's get those long-range stuns going through. Even if the breach isn't directly with the Neon to go for trades, at least get a fault line or something to help him for the aggression. This time, ooh. It's a fast play towards A by both teams. A peek coming off the back of that. You saw the Astra utility there as well. But Cooney able to get the first 2 bloods of the round, so he's done his job thus far and then some. But Keo taken down by the Hunter's Fury of Paris. So only 2 left standing going into this. You see Hunter trying to go for one. He's got a Hunter's Fury here. I don't suspect he uses it, but I mean, it would definitely maybe help them even out numbers here. Ski looking for a bit of aggression. Taking down the spy cam. And Dyna, along with that, definitely possible here. Hunter coming right on through. And Ski takes down the Cypher with the Annihilation as he tries to push him. And they have handled this round so well. Ski looking for the 1v1 against Empty. The shots come through, but what a shot there from Empty to finish things off. And Visualize, just by the skin of their teeth, they're able to get through that round, and there's the 8th win on this map.
Still though, it's such good value coming into the retake. I mean, in that situation, a 2v4 retake looks unwinnable, and they actually managed to get 3 picks of that.
Yep.
I mean, that is always a best case scenario for that.
No charges.
Definitely seeing a bit of a different approach here though. They're not pushing all together, they're actually sending Yuki mid, which is something they haven't done as much this half.
No escape.
And Ski is by himself again here as well. Sonic sensors come through. Such good utility against the Neon, but Paris punishing him out. He plays that position every time on this take here. And RY with operator in hand. Looking to go for some damage here, peeking out towards the long sight lines. I mean, TIMEZ have had moments where they're able to come into retakes like this where they're at the numbers disadvantage, but I mean, as soon as that happens, completely changing my mind is Cooney. And Ritsudisu left by his lonesome. 1v5. Gonna have to save the Vandal here. Hopefully grabbing that operator.
Exactly, and there's also that change we're just talking about. This is, I believe, the first round so far they have sent Yuki to go lurch mid since the beginning of the round. And with such issues, they're waiting for someone to go through. Got such an early pick into Hunter while he was looking the exact opposite way. And I mean, retaking there without your Soiva is so much harder. Especially when you're trying to wait for them to actually capitalize off their util, and then suddenly he's just off the board for the rest of the round.
Yep. And they already took the operator out of the hands of TIMEZ as well, so I mean, that's out of the picture.
Absolutely, and it looks like we're actually having a similar approach. We're going for a more default push, something entirely different than what they've been doing so far.
Dizzy comes right on through. Here's the aggression. Trying to look for it. And I love that from them. Keo, a force to be reckoned with. Able to go follow up with NRY with that Blaze Storm and the Dizzy. And they get their pick and they get out. But look at this lurk from Yuki. He's not even aware that Ritsudisu is behind him. They're both not aware Oh
position
my
is just-
goodness. This is the second time, Nick, this tournament we've had something like that happen. Or Ichirisu. Not aware he's still out, so he's on site. He's going to hear these people come towards him as well. Nobody's going to clear this.
Get to see that position.
Oh no. Does he handle it well though? Goes for the first pick. He does grab it. He doesn't respond in time, but empty.
Player standing.
Again,
Gets off to the plant.
damaging.
Wow. What did we just watch?
I mean, I am speechless for that. Like, that was just a series of unlucky events between three people for both teams. I mean, Oishuisu with such a good position to get that pick in, but not getting it and actually missing that timing ended up genuinely paying off by both getting a lot of damage into the planter and a pick.
Wow.
I mean, that's like one of the best case scenarios for a mistake like that from both sides that just ended up going on TIMEZ' side.
Much slower approach going into this round here. Both teams. Looks like Visualize. Want to pay attention to what's going over towards mid. First point of contact here at A. And that contention alone, Nick, is enough to draw these rotations. Look at TIMEZ' positioning right now on this minimap. Completely rotating towards that A extremity, and Cypher, Yuki on the side of Visualize, is able to lurk up onto this B site, completely activated into this round. Aldrone to clear things out towards this mid position. Let's tag onto the Sova there, but look at this. Look how deep Yuki is right now. He's going to get the pick on the Hunter.
And there it is.
Where is
Ugh.
everyone hiding?
And the neural theft off the back of it too. I mean, TIMEZ have completely flustered the round here. Just off that overreactionary rotation. And look, he's in spawn. Ski not able to peacefully rotate, but the shots were a little labored from Yuki there. Uncharacteristic from the player here. We have a 3v3 retake here, empty. With the Rolling Thunder in hand, and you see she already has it ready for the side as well. Gonna have to fight ahead of this one. Rolling Thunder comes through. It's a little bit premature, but look at that. All of the utility
Standing.
comes out from the attacker's side and completely blinds Cooney. And Visualize, once again, not able to facilitate him, but I mean, Ski doesn't have time anyway. And the rewrap around the site from Dyna, really good. Nicely done. It was messy from Visualize, but they get the job done.
Either way though, TIMEZ actually managed to get quite a bit of value there with that Cosmic Divide. Forcing Visualize to use both the Overdrive and the Rolling Thunder this round.
Yeah.
Probably actually their Neural Theft early into the round as well. So they managed to get three such important ultimates out of the board for the next two rounds at least.
A slightly different look at the default here. We've got Dyna towards mid, and both controllers are here. Battle of the controllers, but Ichirisu is not aware of the positioning. Dyna able to take that one down. Thrash, it's such an aggressive affair from the side of TIMEZ coming out towards A. Does land onto Dyna towards mid, but I mean, there's three of them here ready to handle this. And look at how deep in the spawn TIMEZ are right now. And look at where Paris is too. I mean, completely gonna shut this down. There it is, that's it. Ares answering things down. Picks come right on through.
That is exactly what I was about to say. Look at Paris' position coming into that, trying to catch a timing behind them, and it does exactly so, getting two picks into that round. They had such good aggression towards A main coming into the round, was just unable to get more value of that, and they maybe ended up getting a little too aggressive and ended up running into a trap.
Yeah. And we must not forget, folks, this is an elimination match. So if TIMEZ are able to take this map away, I mean, they put Visualize out of the tournament right here. Hunter's Fury coming through from Paris. Does tag 80 onto NRY, but 3 still left standing alive and healthy on the side of the A. And Keo taking one down through the nebula there. Make that 2, make that 3 from TIMEZ. And it's almost like they heard us here on stream. They can take Visualize out of the tournament right here, right now. And they've done their job so far coming into this round, getting even more aggressive, forcing Paris into a real uncomfortable position here. Going to have to do the work, and it's not enough. Just completely gives up from that engagement. Once again, Yuki so far deeply implanted into the spawn of TIMEZ. Are they going to be aware at any point? I mean, they've completely flipped the map here. It almost doesn't matter because Spike is in control of TIMEZ, and that's all they have to do is play for that.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a situation where you just want to play for a few kills. Hopefully just get as much fight as you can of a 4v1. I mean, time is on the low side, Spike is down. There's not too much that can be done here. Yeah, and it looks like we're just going for that save.
And they're chasing them down too.
10 seconds left.
Cage trigger. Found you. Cage trigger. Careful now.
There it is. TIMEZ taking that round away there. 11-11 right now, Nick. Now, this scoreline is so close. All tied up here between Visualize and TIMEZ. I was expecting a close game, but I wasn't expecting it to be this close.
I was just the same, and this was also such a big round for both teams. I mean, both the teams' economies were looking a little on the low side, and that is exactly what we're seeing on Visualize's side right now. Coming in with 3 rifles and Ares and a Stinger against TIMEZ' 5 rifles right now. And it looks like we're shifting back to that default approach, more than like the 5-man pushes that they've been doing.
You can see how careful they've been so far in this early round in juxtaposition to the other rounds. If TIMEZ take this round, I mean, it is so unlikely that Visualize maintain their space in the tournament. Hunter getting out the first blood, but gets a little bit overzealous on the peak and gets taken down from Cooney there. Ichidisu ready on the back of the Sonic sensor. Completely takes down Cooney. Ichidisu looking for the spams. And Ski playing the position we're always used to, but a backstab from Keo does come out. Paris able to land the trade through the wall there on the Ares, but I mean, the odds are not in his favor right now. We're going to have to come out with a clutch here. It's NRY to see the rotation come through. So far, going to stick to this position and try to play the mind games here. Love that. Hiding behind the pillar. Looking to give them that information that they're going towards A, but Paris is actually coming towards B. And they've played the mind games well this round. I mean, there's an annihilation in the hands of TIMEZ here, so definitely a round that's going to look quite unlikely, but with this plant coming through, I expect Paris to get aggressive here. Look for a pick. Try to force out an awkward engagement. Standing towards the spike so far. You can see how much they need it too. Shock darts going on to the spike. Gonna try to look for that post-death kill here, but Paris is gonna go down, and the shock darts are kind of out of the equations here, as it looks like he looked a little bit too far for those. So defuse comes through for TIMEZ, and right now they are at series point.
Match point.
I mean, this is looking so hard for them. Going into this, the Rico is so much on the low side. They can barely scrap a decent buy together. And I mean, this is probably the most important run for them so far. Like, if they win this, they actually have a chance to stay into this tournament.
Yeah, because every round after that, I mean, is just completely even. This is the last round of regulation here. If Visualize win this round, we go into overtime. If TIMEZ win this round, they win the series.
Exactly, and for them, this is more than just the map point. It is actually the point that either keeps them in the tournament or gets them eliminated.
Yep.
I'm very interested to see what approach they decide to take, as they have done both the more conventional approaches, going for default pushes, playing of info, as well as just in a way like running down a side, going all together, playing super aggressively. But TIMEZ has just started to play so well against both of them. So I'm interested if they even decide to try one of those approaches or decide to try something entirely different.
And this is the round to do it too. I mean, whatever approach that they have that they haven't shown us yet is where they need to pull this out for the side to visualize. I mean, this is for all the marbles to stay in the tournament. So if they have a strat book, this is the round that I expect them to pull something as deep as possible and to get a really good set play going here based off of what they know from time so far in this game.
Absolutely. And looking into this, while they might be barely scrapping a bite together, they do have quite a few options, as they are only two orbs of both an overdrive and a neural theft, which are towards that can easily get them quite a bit of value into a round, depending on the situation. I mean, Cooney has been getting quite a bit of value for their overdrive so far, so that is most likely what they'll be going for, especially considering that this is a rather low buy from them.
As we continue to wait here, folks, to get back into the action, looks like NRY had some tech issues there, got disconnected, so we are in a current tech pause here. Nothing that we are strangers to at the VLE Challengers or in the Valorant community overall.
Looks like Norway has had a few issues so far this game, with a few disconnections after some deaths and such, though not caused any issues. This one did happen a bit too early into the round though, so hopefully not too bad of an issue.
I have to say, now that I think about it, when it comes to Abyss, even though this has to be easily one of my least favorite maps to actually play, it's pretty entertaining to actually watch, but it's also my favorite map in terms of these out-of-bound scenery. I mean, this map is beautiful. Just looking at it here.
Absolutely. Design-wise, this map is such a nice concept. I mean, I definitely agree. It is also one of the maps that I do not really enjoy playing, at least as of right now. However, it is also a map that is definitely entertaining to watch, exactly because of what we said back into the map veto of this series, which was the fact that there's such room for innovation and to see not just different agent comps, but also different approaches on how to play this map.
Yeah.
And again, design wise, looking at this map is just, it's such a nice scenery.
Here we go. Looks like NRY has gotten right back into the server here. So once we get the confirmation from the match moderators, we're going to get this underway. And Nick, man, like we were talking about, this is for all the marbles for Visualize. And we're potentially looking at our first elimination here in the VLE Challengers on this map alone.
Absolutely, this is such an important round for both teams. For the side of TIMEZ, it guarantees their spot at least for a few more rounds into this tournament, and for Visualize, it guarantees their at least a chance to stay into this.
Here we go. As the clock continues to tick. 9 seconds left in this barrier phase
I am with you.
until we find out
are
the
strong.
fate of Visualize. And here we are. The group up is over towards A. And I mean, they're going fast right into this one TIMEZ. But look at the read right now from Visualize. They know they love to get aggressive here, so they play anti, but Keo still somehow is able to get the first blood of the round. And already leaving Visualize on their back foot in this round, in the series, in the tournament. Empty. Looking to re-clear towards the space with Cooney. And the fight comes over towards Vent. Dyna able to take one down in the heroic plays. That's when this starts to come through. All players in this round right now feeling the pressure. Hunter, a complete error. Going up the rope there as the vent hit is coming through. NRY looking to get ahead of the dark cover, able to take one down, but Dyna with the trade. And she has done the work for this roster right now going into this round. Ski and Norichirisu left in a 2v3 clutch scenario right now. Dark cover, take things away. Sightlines from Visualize towards his CT position. TIMEZ rather, but Ski getting taken down from Yuki, the opposing Sentinel. And already left on the back foot. That being the last round of regulation, Visualize able to clutch it in going into overtime.
Switching sides. Overtime.
And I mean, Dyna turning up exactly when their team needed them. So far, they had been on the lower side of the leaderboard and coming in with a 4K on arguably the most stressful round they've had so far. I mean, this was an all or nothing round.
Yeah. Stress indeed. And they didn't even let that get to him either.
Exactly. And here we have both teams actually playing on equal terms for the rest of the game. So it's again going to come down to what approach they decide to take. And it looks like they're going back towards that 5-man push towards me. And we saw this so many times in the first half, but that is an approach that worked for them. So let's see how Visualize decides to play around that.
Yeah. And that dart came through at just the right time to take Hunter down. Just a little bit of HP there. Paris going for the spam. NRY looking for the engagement, but the plant has happened so quick coming into this round, and we've got a 5v5 retake for your first round of overtime here. Concuss comes right on through looking for the pick, but Flashpoint gonna force him out of position. Cloudburst didn't come through in time. Barrier mesh coming through the dark cover, empty. Aware of the positioning, not able to get takedown Hunter there. And right now, all of the bodies for the side of Visualize falling in TIMEZ, looking to regain that lead to put Visualize further on their back foot out of the tournament.
Match point.
And here we have Visualize back into an all or nothing round. He do have more of a standard approach here coming from TIMEZ though, playing a 2-1-2 setup with Sova mid just playing to get some info.
Checking the situation.
And this round is going to be a testament of resilience for Visualize, because, I mean, this is where you need it. Getting aggressive, Richidisu going to get punished out there. And those are not the mistakes that you want to be making going into an overtime like this. But Cooney going for the entry. Keo taking him down. Dizzy to go through to help him get out of dodge, and that he does. Plant comes through. Spy cam left on site, ready for this retake, and this time is very similar. Even man on both sides, 4v4, but the Gecko on the side of TIMEZ, very low HP. Aldrone to come right on through, commencing things right into this hit. NRY losing his timing onto Paris, and Dyna gonna get the peek there. And right off the back of that, TIMEZ put on their back foot here, and a show of resilience from Visualize. Once again, Rolling Thunder from empty, and Paris to land the headshot, and the finisher to come right on through. 13-13, it's all tied up again.
Switching sides. Overtime.
And once again, it was that one small change in that one position that made such a difference. Parity playing towards side, something that was so unexpected from the side of Visualize, and ended up only getting one pick. Arguably one of the most important ones was NOI trying to get aggressive. Essentially the same thing TIMEZ did last round, but I believe it was NOI instead.
And we're getting that lurk from Richidisu this time, but it's a fast play in and out for Visualize. And for the first time in this overtime, they find themselves at an advantage in the round, but Yuki
They found my wire.
playing over towards B here. Wire's going to get shot out. Gravnet finds him backside, doesn't tap onto it because he's looking for the pick, and he does. Gravneted, winning his engagement against Hunter, but he's getting cramped towards that back site. Paris able to get a trade, but Wingman going to get that spike down. And for the first time in a while, TIMEZ is on their back foot in this post-plant position right now. Visualize looking to gain the lead here and solidify their chances of staying in this tournament. Ski, the one to play onto this site right now. Stun comes right on through, looking to get the aggression towards backside, and the recon gets just away ahead of it. Able to take one down ahead of it, but Keo, the last one left, gets the first one, but gets spammed out as he brings out the melee, and Paris going for the defuse here. Visualize have taken that round away, and they are now at map point.
And even for the first time, TIMEZ actually on the losing side of match point. I mean, this is also just as stressful for round as for them, as this is the round that will take them into that third map. And also, losing the round definitely has an impact on the mental. So, definitely as stressful as it gets for a round. Just curious to see how they decide to approach this, and if they're going to try anything different than what we've seen so far.
Right there.
Yeah, now is the time to make that difference too. You see that deadlock set up over here towards B. Both stuns. A double shock lineup coming out from the attackers there towards B, but looks like they missed from where their intended position were. Storch has something to say about that one. But Richidisu confirming things coming over here towards the A site. Comms come right on through, trying to pull off of the plant there. Looking for the spam. Dyna gonna get low HP there, but Spike gonna get planted, and we've got a 5v5 retake. HP is a little bit low there, but Cooney getting the first blood going into this one. Visualize clawing their way back. Hunter able to get the pick there. Yuki not able to follow up, going towards backside. There it is. The show of excellence by Yuki there gets two, and he's done more than his job. Richidisu still left here on the site, and the drone comes right on through. Not able to get the spam, but he forces himself out in the open. Gonna go for the diffuser. Richidisu, he's sticking onto it, and the push is coming through empty. Looking to take him down and Visualize. Take it away.
The value they needed from that position. I mean, Yuki getting through there is exactly what they needed coming into that post-plant situation. I mean,
Wow.
such a good approach from them.
Just based off of the way that first map went and the way this one started, Nick, I was not expecting to be going to a map 3, but what a amazing show of resilience by Visualize in this series right now. They've clawed their way back and tied things up in this series. What a wonderful job.
Absolutely, and again, this was TIMEZ map pick,
Yep.
which just makes it even so more impressive. Like, they came back from losing their map pick and actually managed to win, even though they were put in such bad positions so many times during this game, especially towards the end.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all those rounds where Cooney was going for picks by himself that we had the most critiques about the way Visualize were playing it. But it started working out for him in that overtime, staying onto the side after that post plant and looking for the kills there. I mean, just an exceptional job. And Hunter, once again, Nick, topping the leaderboard in that initiator role. He's on the Sova this time, 27 and 21. Really nice performance from him. And I mean, you see the show of excellence from all these players in the series, even Empty doing much better than her first game in this series as well. And then you have players like Keo, who's got all those plants, but is still such an incredible force alongside NRY, who's able to get those trades when NRY goes down as that duelist, or who's able to use that Dizzy to get value for him. Both teams showing exactly what they need in terms of their improvement coming into this game. And that is exactly the tale that you want to see, Nick. The narrative that both of these teams have to start to paint in these elimination matches and show that they're a force to be reckoned with, because after this match, Nick, if you win this, you're going to a decider match, so you're still not quite qualified. But both of these teams are definitely putting something on the table here.
Absolutely, and I mean, that was a map where everyone had such big impact. It wasn't a map where there were some people that were just doing really good and just getting a lot of value, and the team was playing just off that. It was everyone got so much going into this. We had Dyna coming in with a 4K to get them into the OT. We had NRY coming with so many picks early into the rounds. Same with Cooney. And even Empty coming in with a U2 on those post-play situations, getting those stuns in and actually helping their teammates to get some picks and just give them an advantage.
Yep. And with that, folks, that puts us to the decider, which is going to be Sunset, and we don't want to keep you waiting too long, so we're going to head to an intermission here. It's 1-1, tied up, Visualize versus TIMEZ. We'll see you on the other side. Last time it was on Breach. This time it was on Sova. Hunter coming out as the match MVP of that Abyss game right there, and he has done such an impressive job so far in the series, Nick. 272 ACS, 27 and 21 5 first bloods. I mean, he's been a demon, and we're heading off to Sunset, and I'm looking for him to do the same thing there.
Absolutely, he's been looking so good on times decided. He been getting such good value, both when it comes to frags and also with his util. Definitely
really good utility.
Curious to see how exactly. Definitely curious to see how they decided to approach Sunset, as we did see his breach was quite good, so that is something we could very well see again.
Yeah. The crazy part too is, Nick, both Sova and Breach are played very frequently on Sunset, and those are the two agents we actually saw Hunter play in this series.
Exactly.
So whether he's on one or the other, he's going to do the thing.
Absolutely. I mean, he's definitely shown that he can frag out even on roles such as that, and he has actually done so both games.
Mm-hmm.
Sunset coming into that map is another one where, while not as open to trying different things, there is at least some room. Usually we see teams playing around with their initiators, trying different things, like we've seen the VLE, we've seen the Sova, we've seen the Breach, the Gecko. So I am interested in seeing what we decide to see here. Speaking of, here's the Gecko and the Breach.
All right. There it is, yeah. Got the Gecko Breach going here. Something we saw already in this series. One Ascent to be particular. NRY on the Neon this time, though, instead of that Jet. Get the Cypher coming right on through. All right, so this comp definitely standard here. One Ascent, Gecko, Breach. We've seen it time and time again. Now Visualize looking on the flip side, and I know we usually try not to look at the hovers too much, but I see the Yoru hover from Empty here. I don't suspect that's going to come through. Okay, there he is. There it is.
Yes,
Gecko.
And the Sova. So, also, kind of a standard comp. In a way, it's exactly what we just said. They mostly played one of the initiators, having Sova on one side, Breach on the other, the rest being exactly the same. Both comps have shown in games in the past that do have potential. Just comes down to how they are played.
Yeah. I will say the Sova Gecko, a configuration, although both initiators played pretty frequently on this map here, a configuration we're not used to seeing though. Sova and Gecko together at the same time. Usually it's Sova Breach or it's Gecko Breach, but it's Sova Gecko this time. Now, in my opinion, I think that this initiator configuration is a little slower than that Breach combo, so I think that Neon will not be able to go as fast in terms of capitalizing off of maybe like a supportive Breach stun right over towards like a Link or B main where that Breach stun comes right on through and the Neon can just go, right? You have that short range Gecko Dizzy, so a lot more space will have to be confirmed before you actually get that Neon to activate off a fight. So I expect the micro to be slightly different here for the side of Visualize, while the comp does look familiar, but nonetheless, pretty standard things here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely more on the slow side. However, it is a comp that also can get quite a bit of information, which can be quite nice to have on this map. So it definitely has some advantages coming into this game.
Yeah.
We do have Pirates with Sova again, who did really well last game.
Yep.
And that does look like an agent they're quite comfortable in. So there is definitely a very good chance that this comp works out for them.
One thing I do want to say is with Cooney being on that Neon again, I mean, I know that Cooney's really good at that neon roll, but Sunset, I feel like if you get aggressive, you know, and put yourself in an island, I feel like this map is way more punishing to that playstyle than Abyss is. Abyss has a lot of open corridors and a lot of open space for you to actually, like, go for those aggressive fights on an island and get out. So, you know, although it's not necessarily a playstyle I would personally agree with, you know, Cooney got away with it on Abyss, but I don't think he's going to be able to get away with it as much here on Ascent. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, even compared to Ascent, this map is so much more punishing for a playstyle like that, because
Yeah.
you just can't, like, for example, someone pushing deep into B. No, it's not a situation where, unless you're ready to get that trade early on, you cannot just like react to that to get it, which is something that we saw done a decent bit, both on Abyss and Ascent. And playing with a slower comp could actually be really bad for them if they decide to play like that again. However, again, it decides on how they decide to take this approach and how they decide to have Cooney play. And then at the end, also, if Cooney managed to hit the shots he was hitting last game.
It's true, yeah. If he hits the shots he was hitting last game, I mean, it'll be really good stuff. But I wanted to note real quick, what we're looking at right now, Nick, is actually the old Sunset. So those of you that don't know, in a recent patch, Sunset actually did get updated. So B-site, completely different space. You know, there's new verticality presented onto the map, and there's a bit of a hut created towards mid-site. So talk to me a little bit, Nick, about how you see that playing out and the differences here, because I think the first time in this tournament we saw a team play on the new Sunset was the Red Panda Gaming match against Celestial Titan. And we saw that a lot more teams were maybe planting out in the open and going towards market and taking market control, or still planting towards those stairs and playing towards B main in the left and right corners. So how do you see them playing it in this series with these particular teams?
I definitely like a lot of the changes made, especially towards the B side. I feel like most of the changes were made to encourage the attacker side to play more towards site by giving them so many different positions they can actually play in. Sunset, as it was before, playing on site was really easily punishable by the right U2 usage coming into a retake. Well, now with the two boxes actually coming out of Boba, attackers have are able to get such better positions and off angles to get some picks, while playing B main to spam is not as viable as there's not just the big box you cannot wallbang sitting right in the middle.
You're absolutely right. And coming into this round, we're already getting a very aggressive approach from mid. And I love this approach too. It's baited out a little bit as they move back into spawn, and it's the A players that are coming in to refight the space and already claiming one of their own coming into this now. Richirisu back into this position, and that's a new box there towards mid. You have to watch out for that position. He's able to take down one, but he gets traded off. Two left standing for TIMEZ, and it's already awkward for them, Nick.
Here.
Exactly, and there's what we just said about Cooney's aggression, which this time did have his team to back him up though.
Yeah, it's a nice change.
And this is just such an awkward position coming into a retake. I mean, 2v4, we do have Yuki though on that lurk position towards mid. Now pushing up top mid.
Retake gets commenced though. Hunter ready to come out onto the site, and the damage is looking really good right now. They're both down on pretty low HP, but Tap can come through on the spike pretty soon. Empty to take one down. That's actually Yuki rather, but there it is. Empty confirming the kill onto Ski there. They got two really good picks, but Visualize still closing things off on the pistol here.
Absolutely, and I mean, even though Yuki got really unlucky missing the timing twice actually on Hunter, he did manage to still get that pick while Hunter thought he was safe, at least for a few seconds. And hopefully we end up seeing what we said and see that change with their team, or visualize actually playing more with Kuni, which did kind of see into the round coming in early on with those 2 picks.
I got eyes here.
Yep. And look at this too. They're so ready for this push coming out. They're gonna play towards the spawn there and get themselves ready for the engagement. Forcing them right out of it. TIMEZ looking to get aggressive. Get those close range gunfights. Try to get the weapons to visualize, but they're not biting back. And this regroup over towards mid. TIMEZ once again in position, ready to stop it down, but I mean the guns to visualize already landing onto it, and they still have so many living on their side. Not a single pick or any convincing damage coming out from TIMEZ so far into this one. Yuki looking to finish things off. Ski able to get one down. Can recover that weapon there, but the plant gonna go over towards A.
Wingman's planting.
There goes Harsh, I mean, immediately going back to play with the team, not even risking giving Ski that pick.
Looking to find his way into this one. Running right onto the site there, but Dyna gonna land it down onto Ski, and that's all she wrote. Visualize. Really good eco round there.
That is arguably one of the best outcomes they could have had to a bonus run. I mean, they get to keep 4 of their guns, and they do also have a sheriff. For Yuki, they also got to keep their shields, which is really important. I mean, they don't have to spend almost any money other than the bit of util they used to take that site.
Yep. And once again, similar look as we got last time. Visualize playing anti super deep towards that A spawn. But this time, TIMEZ not showing anything, so looks like they're going to start progressing here. Moving the positions over towards Tile. Keo out in the open towards top mid. I mean, very dangerous position from him, but no contact made as of yet, so no harm, no foul. And the dark cover cancels that there. And as they regroup over here towards A, NRY looking to get himself activated into this round. Gonna have to back up though. You see Hunter playing together with him. So you're running into a lot of stun utility on this A site if you are on the side of Visualize. Right now they're looking for it. Relay bolt coming through. Activating right into this, but NRY stays ahead of it. Takes down Cooney. The duelist on the side of Visualize ahead of this take. And Hunter here to follow things up. Looking for the peek over towards elbow here. The shots are a bit labored. Empty able to win that one out. Fight over towards top mid. Doesn't quite go their way.
30 seconds
But it is a
left.
3v3 here for both teams. And Cypher so far inserted. Arichidisu is going to have to deal with this before he becomes a part of the retake. NRY trying to deny things, and he has done his job. Taking down the wingman there. Able to get off the site, and Arichidisu even taking down Yuki on that lurk there. And right now only 2 left standing for Visualize. So far, so good, but forced out into the open by the mosh pit is NRY. Empty. Able to take that one down, and she's found herself in a clutch situation. A bonus round, very convertible at this point. Gets the first headshot. Already 3 on the round, 68 HP. Reload comes right on through, and as the dark cover lands, Orichidisu hits the headshot and gets the defuse for TIMEZ.
With 5 HP left, that was such a close round and such a good bonus conversion for Visualize. I mean, getting 4 picks there, TIMEZ is coming into this with probably some half buys or some low buys. Well, I mean, so far we've seen 3 Guardians coming in with half shields as well. Definitely an awkward buy to play on this, though it has worked for them so in the past in their series, so we'll see how they decide to play this out.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
NRY getting out of dodge as the thrash comes through.
I'm out
This round definitely underway, and RY caught out in the open. Not able to reposition himself ahead of the take there. Hunter trying to do damage to follow up for the mispositioning of NRY, but he can't. And only 3 left standing for TIMEZ here. Visualize completely taking the site by storm, and they have been so resilient in this series so far. Gaining the lead at the beginning here of this game, and already on their front foot going into this retake 4 times. A lot of damage gonna have to be done here. Dark cover. First step of that retake there, but Yuki, gun barrel spotted out. Yuki giving away the position here, and Ski looking to inch his way to find it. There he does. Very well handled there. But backside is Cooney, and somehow they've handled that. The rethrash comes right on through, but the team's spacing out just enough to take care of it. But the pick coming out from empty, only 6 HP from Ski, and he actually does it. Is there enough time? Ooh, no. 0.11.
So close.
Wow. Visualize getting that round there. And that was a tight rope.
Something I would like to mention here, I'm not sure if that is exactly what the intention was, though we did see a big difference in how Cooney played that. If you notice, last 2 rounds ago on the bonus round, Cooney ended up overextending again and got punished for it. And this is where what we said about the slower comp made such a difference. And on this round instead, Cooney actually decided to play more aggressively and peek while staying within the side, close to his teammates.
Hi! I'm pissed!
Yeah, and look, he's doing it again too, Nick. Overdrive in hand, just completely ahead of everything. Looking to go all the way into their spawn. I mean, it's so aggressive. And he's done it. Taken one down, gotten away with one, but fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. And now we go into this retake here. TIMEZ 3v3. Hunter's Fury is left. Paris looking to get the owl drone to come right on through. And the plant not necessarily in a position to handle. Able to take one down. And ahead of this, Hunter looking for the first pick. Does get it. He's got the chance to defuse here. Mosh pit out of the equation. Flash comes through, but the cam confirming he's not on the spike. No peek has to come through from Yuki for the time being. Gonna have to tap it down again. Not aware of where the positioning is. Gun comes out, and that's the pick from Yuki. And a 4th round for Visualize.
I mean, this is such a good look from Visualize so far, as much as these rounds have been quite close. They're the ones who end up with the advantage so far when it comes into the rounds, and this is such a, I mean, for them it's a difference, it's a big difference compared to how it's been so far in the past 2 maps, where they started quite heavily on the losing side. We have the timeout here, which I'm expecting to see some change coming from TIMEZ.
Yep. And they've got Arena Closer, the coach of TIMEZ, so that's the external assistance that they need in this moment. I mean, and Nick, TIMEZ find themselves actually right now in a pretty peculiar position because, I mean, they looked so good in map 1, taking that away. And then map 2, it was their map pick, and that's actually the map that would have sealed things in the series for them, and they lose it to Visualize. And they're down in this 3rd map, the decider. So, I mean, the reverse comeback for Visualize looking a whole lot real. And I know it's early days, but TIMEZ need to stop this bleeding as early as they can.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's any time to stop it, it is now, when it's still early into the half, or really early into the game as well. Like, this is not something that can keep going, because it will only scale and become worse as time goes by.
One way towards A main. Once again, caution for Visualize. Looking for the question marks. Hunter starting to make a quiet approach, going onto the orb here. NRY to protect things out, and there it is. Breach ult comes right through, 1 away from that Rolling Thunder. Out of nowhere, we got a Hunter's Fury. No value gained. Norichirisu on the defense, I mean, he's inserted pretty deep into this mid position right now for TIMEZ. And this is one of those new positions that really give you a lot of information on those rotations. The take coming over towards A. Hunter going to be the first point of contact. It's a little bit awkward. Dyna playing around the choke, and there it is. Right through the Radiant crate. Hunter able to take that one down, seal the deal, but Cooney, the next point of contact ahead of this, and contention starting to show itself towards this A site. Flashpoint comes through, but a little bit late to the party. Empty able to take that one down at Ichirisu from that position we talked about mid. And right now we're going into a 4v3 retake. Ooh, nice shot from Cooney there to even the number. Going into this one, Empty to follow right on up. Kyo looking for the trade. Gets forced off by the mosh pit momentarily, but at Ichirisu getting damage from Yuki over towards main ahead of the one-way, but Empty with the thrash coming through. Wingman onto the spike. They're going to have to come into this. Cooney gets the pick onto Kyo, and the thrash actually landed onto the Ichirisu, so he's actually able to completely stall this one out. Empty of Cooney have handled this so very well for the side of Visualize, and 3 on the round, right onto the head of Ichirisu is the Vandal of Empty, and that is the 5th round confirmed for Visualize.
Absolutely, and I mean, early into the round, we saw exactly the change we're talking about. TIMEZ managed to get the advantage they needed, except Empty with Cooney at the end ended up playing it so well and got so much value of early picks with their aggression, and then the util they use at the end with the thrash coming in and the double peek to get that pick on the one person that was stuck on site, and ended up just getting them the round here, which was such an important one for them, essentially forcing TIMEZ into another save with one hero rifle on Hunter.
And once again, with Ichirisu completely put into this mid position, but Paris walking up on it. Very aware of it this time. Attention coming over towards this dark cover top mid. Kyo, first point of contact there, but you hear the point of contention over towards A too. So if you are TIMEZ in this round right now, you're starting to put the pieces together, the puzzle. You kind of understand where the hit's going, but it quiets down over towards A. And if you look at the minimap here, we've got Visualize full rotation over towards the B site right now. And so they're looking to make this B split happen. Now, the only one to really stop this here is Ski. He hears the knife coming onto the door there. Aldrone to come right on through, and there's the full pressure, forcing him out of position. And that is a full site take for the side of Visualize. Wingman going for the spike plant. And TIMEZ already finding themselves in the retake scenario. They've got that Rolling Thunder, presumably going to be in the equation for this one. Thrash right on through, overdrive, landing on a Paris. And RY looking to give Cooney a taste of his own medicine. Looking to give Visualize a taste of their own medicine, but Dyna's got other plans. There it is, that Sheriff landing right onto the head of NRY, overdrive, taking out of the equation. Ski following up onto Yuki. And right now, we've got 2 left for the side of TZ, and there it is. Ski following up once again. 3 on the round right now, and they've completely turned this around. Empty trying to jump ahead of the thrash there with the Vandal, but Ski recovering that Phantom, takes her down and gets the defuse, and what a response from TIMEZ.
Absolutely, what a crazy round that was with that retake coming in. I mean, it looked like the, I want to say, win conditions for them with that paper drive and that early thrash, and it actually ended up being anything but that, with Ski coming in with 4 picks into that retake.
Yeah.
That's where those default push here from Visualize side.
Yeah. That's where those mechanics come into play too. If you're hitting shots like that, I mean, you deserve the round.
Absolutely.
Once again, passive approach over towards A for Visualize. Aldrone to come through, clearing out tiles this time. Orichirisu looking to be the thorn over towards mid. Gonna have to get out of dodge this time, feels the pressure. The fight towards A. Not quite going Visualize's way, but silver lining there is that Empty's able to get that trade over towards mid, so it makes this a little bit more comfortable for them. But Ski playing into market this time, able to get around the Dizzy, able to take one down, and he's definitely done his job in this round. Stalled just a little bit for the rest of his team to rotate here. And you can see the positionings here. They're ready for this.
Spike planted.
Coming right on over into Boba. Blind comes right on through. Stun. There it is so far. Very layered. The side of TIMEZ. NRY playing the dance around market there so well. Mosh pit to come towards the site. They're both playing towards B main. I mean, it's the spam fest that we're used to from the old Sunset. But Arichirisu sticking it. The mosh pit actually missed. The spams don't come through, and they can't even confirm the defuse is coming through, so Visualize not able to take that one away, and TIMEZ sneaking that defuse.
And I mean, again, that's another round that was actually really, really close. I mean, there were just small little details that made the difference. That Mosh missing, then Yuki that accidentally made a footstep market. As if you look early into the round, or early into the retake, NRY was completely clueless about Yuki's position, but he accidentally made a footstep and ended up having to take a fight with 3 people pushing towards him.
Now, I love this set play coming out from Visualize right now. Paranoia comes through to put a lot of pressure on those A main players, and then Dyna goes for the TP into spawn to take the fight to them. An exceptional job done, but Keo, out of nowhere on the other side, completely takes down 2 of his own. And all of a sudden, if it's a 3v3 here, Neural Theft comes through. Ready for the retake. Dizzy going super duper high there. Dyna once again playing around the site, looking to stop the retake before it comes through, but Cooney sniffs danger. Dyna ahead of it there. Gonna try to finish things off, but not able to do so because of the crossfire there, and TIMEZ getting that defuse. And they're coming right back into this.
Excuse me, he's getting such good value in his repositions. Waited for his team to actually get some picks towards Link, which in this case was Keo. Then immediately repositions and goes to CT while his team is wary of that Link push. And actually ends up getting another early pick of the round that was really important coming into the retake.
This goes here.
Keo over here is actually another player that we haven't talked that much about, but has been doing so well. Even though now they're having a bit of a slower game, they have consistently been getting such important picks into the round that they're winning.
Yeah, a lot of multi-kills.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Shot slaver there for NRY, uncharacteristic. Cooney gonna get the job done though, taking down the opposing duelist. Right now he's looking to keep doing the damage, but gonna get forced out into the open there. Fights don't go his way once again. TIMEZ forced onto their back foot. Urichirisu with the response, but 50 HP left. It's gonna have to be Hunter that does the difference here. Left down to 85. He's done it before. Can he do it again? Thrash coming through, and this time landing right onto him. Urichirisu is gonna have to protect him, but that he cannot do. Visualize, completely taking the round away there.
I mean, Urichirisu tried to get such a good timing in, and was actually really close. It barely missed that landing in front of Empty, and in that situation with 1 HP there is not much more you can do. However, they did at least make Visualize use their Thrash this round, which is at least something coming into them. I mean, Empty so far this game has been doing so well.
Oh, Nick, it's a fast play. Yeah. Keo took one out. We were just talking about him, but Visualize handling it much better. And that's full B control for them. Urichirisu looking to get ahead of this here. He's on a mission. Paranoia comes through. Completely denies the Cypher coming out of the choke point, but momentarily slowing things down here. Caught out with his knife is Paris. Urichirisu getting that trade forces things down to a 2v2. Very smart, though, from TIMEZ here to group up into this one. A lot of times you see teams missing that layer of discipline. And so TIMEZ looking to not play towards that narrative. And right now, we get the tap onto the spike. They're going to start
enemy
forcing
remaining.
things out here. Ski getting the first spam
Last
through the
player
smoke.
standing.
And Yuki, there's the trade. Dark cover. The point of contention in this play right now. Spy cam comes through looking for it, and Yuki gets the clutch there.
And this is just the
Last
spam
round
we're used
in
to
the
seeing
half.
on this map. I mean, as much as it might not be as strong as it used to be, it is definitely a viable strat, and this is a almost perfect example of it. A situation like that where you don't have much time left, there is not that much you can do.
That goes there. Yes, this should do.
Oh, look. We get to see a judge play here by Chirisu. Dark cover coming through. Does get the first. And just gets completely out of there. Really nicely done thus far going into this round. And that's one thing that TIMEZ have shown us in this series, Nick, is that they're getting much better at adapting as a team. And I know they're down right now, but you have to give them props. Little plays like that and discipline to get out of there after you get one just does so much more in the round than it seems.
Exactly, and they have been doing that so much and so consistently. Like, their discipline has been really, really good, as well as their playstyle overall with playing with one another and not just letting a teammate's aggression or just death just go to vain. They try to get
One
as much
enemy remaining.
as many changes as they can, and in this case, here's the aggression I was just talking about.
Yep. And really impressive work here from NRY too. All three of those guys flashed. He's able to
30
actually get the
seconds
picks.
left.
Looks like we're going to get a tech pause coming shortly after this round as Cooney disconnected during the round. Oh, okay. He's woken back up. Overdrive in hand, but last round of the half here.
Switching sides.
All right. And before we move things into the second half of the match here, 5-7, Visualize coming out on top of that half, but TIMEZ with a really good response. Gonna have a short pause here, give Cooney a little bit of time to get recollected there off that tech issue. Now, considering he did disconnect during the round here, it looks like we're not gonna get a round roll back here. Just gonna wait for him to get situated.
We'll see, as I'm not exactly sure on the timing of the disconnection, but I do believe it was actually really early into the round, if not the pre-round. But though I'm not sure what exactly the issue was, because they did not get disconnected from the game entirely. They
Yeah.
just were not able to move for some reason.
Saw a couple issues like that this game. Some mouse disconnects too.
Yeah, this has happened quite a few times. That looks
And
like
wireless
whatever it
mice,
was,
man.
it is like, you know.
We gotta start checking up on them wireless mice these days. And as we continue to wait to get a word from our match moderators here, Nick, I want to talk a little bit more about this matchup. So, TIMEZ, they found themselves on their back foot pretty early in this game, I must say, when it was 5-1. But those 3 defusals in a row, although Visualize had 2 responses after that, with TIMEZ getting that last round of the half, they get the 5-7, and they bring things over to attack. Now, usually you want to be in that leading half, you know, coming off of defense, especially on Sunset, because I see this map as pretty defender-sided, and I know they made changes towards that B site to make it a little bit more favor of attackers, but nonetheless, I think coming into the second half of this game, TIMEZ have the harder thing to do here, Nick.
Absolutely. I mean, that last half at the start was rather on the bad side for them. They did manage to recollect themselves and win quite a few rounds, as the beginning was looking a lot worse than it was towards the end. at least they managed to close that gap a little bit, going 5-7 into the second half. Though again, this is a map that is more towards the defense side. So it's definitely a rough approach for them. Definitely doable, but they're gonna have to do something here. And again, this is probably the most important round for them so far, as this round will bring the game back into really close, if not equal terms.
Yeah. And already in the pistol, not even 10 seconds in, we've got the first blood coming right on through. Market control already gained off the back of that too. A fight that Paris usually isn't caught out on, so Yuki gonna have to wait for his team to rotate for the retake. Empty getting the kill on Irichirisu. And that is the smokes down for the attacker's side, so you don't really have that to place for yourself in the spam here. And RY looking to take the contact on the site. Retake commenced, and the relay bolt coming through. Gonna stun him, and he actually dies off the back of that stun too. And we have Ski and Hunter left towards main to do the damage. Wingman going down on the defuse, but Yuki pushing right through the dark smoke. And Empty to gain 3 on the round. And there's a defuse for Visualize.
And again, one of the really, really big and important rounds into this game, as now this round gives them such a big advantage coming into this with their buys against probably pistols at best, or like we see the Bucky coming in from RY here. But this is a safe round for them, and it is 5-8, so this brings back the lead towards Visualize's side. So it's definitely getting more stressful here for times.
Stressful indeed, and I mean, speaking of stress, Paris almost caught out there once again in the round, but this time gonna go through and retreat towards Market, but NRY with the Bucky, and we know that Neon Bucky meta, but Paris actually winning that engagement out. And Yuki doing so much damage around the site, playing around the dark cover so well with already 3 on the rounds, run and gun, and it's just Fortnite at this point. Why not? Pop the spy cam while we're at it, and a full defuse will come through for Visualize, and they keep all 5 alive.
And that is best case scenario for this round. I mean, 5 alive going into pretty much the perfect setup into a bonus round.
Go, go, go.
And this is a round that TIMEZ has to win, as losing this round not only gives a big advantage when it comes to the economy to Visualize, but brings TIMEZ into a really, really low buy, which will be against Visualize's possible 11th round. So this is something that they have to do something different and get a round in.
As we move into this next round here, Keo. He said it earlier, we haven't talked about him a lot in this series, but we've mentioned his name so many times getting picks. In this round for him, it's the opening pick. Paris, this time assisting Yuki over towards Market, but not enough bullets left in the chamber to do the job, but those shots being labored from the side of NRY leaves Yuki alive.
Found you.
And so there are some numbers to be said coming into this retake for Visualize, but this bonus is not looking convertible currently. Wingman recollected, relay bolt coming out backside. Cooney looking for space. What a shot right there. Looking to get right ahead of this one. Keo taking them down, and this is the Cooney shenanigans that we're much used to, but Yuki has different plans here, looking for the clutch. Only on 5 HP though. Neural Theft comes through, and there it is. Oh my goodness. What a flick right onto the head of NRY. Yeah.
Absolutely, and then what a crazy retake coming into this. It was looking, like you said, not a round that could be converted, but they played that so well. And this is pretty much, again, exactly what we said about the Sunset changes, about how it tries to encourage attackers to play more towards side, something that most people are very much not used to on this map. I mean, it's something that was almost unheard of so far, because of how punishable it was. And now it was actually the exact opposite. It was the playstyle that we are used to that got so heavily punished by winning such a detrimental round for Visualize.
Yeah, and Cooney.
Go away.
Whew, oh my goodness. Has he been so good this series so far? That duelist player. When you doubt him most, he comes out and shows his strengths. I know it's an eco, but I mean the mechanics are looking so good from him right now. Empty.
Sit down.
A little bit hesitant there is Hunter. Going for that peek. Empty able to land that one down. And Keo left to get a trade here. And this guy has also been so good this series, but he's only got a stinger and 3 on the other side. So it's going to take a godsend from him. Looking for the triple clicks, but
Spike
Empty
down
still
A.
going to take the pick down. And Ski left on his lurk here.
Flawless.
And all impact has been completely taken away there. Flawless for the side of Visualize. Paris to land things off. And Visualize are 2 rounds away from taking TIMEZ out of the tournament. And I can't believe I'm saying that because last map we were saying the same thing about them. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. And then after that ascent, I mean, losing their own map pick made the series look so one-sided. And then we had Abyss saying the same thing, almost looking like the game was won by TIMEZ. And now it's actually the exact opposite. Visualize not only coming back on Abyss, but also with an 11-5 lead coming into this. I mean, it is again the worst case scenario for TIMEZ that I mentioned 2 rounds ago, without losing the possible bonus conversion there. This is a round that they have to win. This is essentially almost series points for them, as their eco is very low in case they do lose this. I mean, TIMEZ have definitely shown us that they can and that they're a really good team. They just need to find that small change that will make the difference coming into this game, because what they've been trying so far just hasn't been it for them.
Track them down.
Yep.
It looks like we have another technical pause on our Y side here.
Last time was a Cooney, now it's in our Y. As we get things situated here, this gives the teams a little bit of time to just decompress. And sometimes, Nick, that's all that's needed, because I'm sure the nerves are settling in so heavily for TIMEZ. And I'm sure Visualize on the flip end, I mean, in probably complete contrast, are feeling really confident right now. Feeling good about this 11-5 scoreline, feeling good about the fact that they have the monumental lead in this half so far, 4-0 on this defensive half for them.
Absolutely, but this is also probably good for both sides, as it also prevents Visualize from getting, in a way, too far ahead of themselves because of how much they're winning. Because that is something we did see for a few rounds coming in from TIMEZ last half, with some unnecessary aggression. And at least now Visualize hasn't done it yet, but it is definitely something that they could be doing, and this in a way prevents them and helps them calm down a bit. The same thing goes towards TIMEZ though, the team that is probably under a lot of stress right now, considering that they went from almost winning very heavily to the first map and almost winning the series, being one round away up to a very one-sided map for the decider.
Shout out to Empty trying to keep the vibes alive there in the chat. Got some lyrics of Thick of It in there. Those of you in our Twitch chat right now, give us some, what are your thoughts on Thick of It? think I might have just started a war, Nick.
There has definitely been one going on about the song since its release.
True. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be honest, it's not that bad. Okay, I saw a lot of the comments that were happening on Twitter around it. I went to go listen to it. I didn't think it was terrible. Pretty catchy, cool tone, cool melody. Get used to it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely not a song that I'm the biggest fan of,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not the worst there's been.
Yeah, we've seen way worse.
Absolutely.
Oh, NRY. Just when we were in the thick of it. Comes back to the server here. So there we are. It looks like we're ready to get back into the action here. As he gets ready to get his guns here. Ready for the buy. Looks like his ping is moving. There we go. He's alive. Nice. As we wait for the match moderators to get the readies in the chat from both team captains. Here we are. I mean, Visualize in the lead right now. Feeling comfortable. TIMEZ not feeling so comfortable. I mean, they need these rounds, Nick. They need to start stopping this bleeding. And I'm sure that timeout helped them with that, but I'm excited to see what the answer is here because we haven't seen it yet. This Gecko Breach Neon has been working wonders in terms of the micro, but there's some things that aren't quite together, and it was a structure and an adaptation that we saw last map that's missing right now.
Absolutely. Like, again, this is what we said back when in the beginning of the game when it was 1-5. This is a time where the bleeding needs to stop.
Yeah.
And this is also their last chance to stop it. Hopefully we're going to see some change for the better coming in, at least bring this map a little closer, though I'm really curious to see how they're going to decide to do it, because if I were to assume, their mentor has to be very much on the low side right now.
Yeah. All right, and this round is underway, folks. Dyna already claiming NRY, and we just talked about that. The micro was a lot cleaner from TIMEZ coming out of it, but being completely shut down here. Visualize, get their pick, and they get out. And I'm so impressed to see the amount of changes they've made here. We've had a lot of criticisms around them playing together, but they have completely fixed that right now. And Ritsudisu has made space out onto the site. Yuki wasn't even aware of it, wasn't ready for it, and he's making the difference in this round. If there's anything TIMEZ need, it's Ritsudisu doing exactly that. Ski able to get a trade over there towards mid. The lurk getting activated. Neural theft coming through, but Dyna still winning that one out.
One enemy remaining.
Wingman baiting it out, trying to look for the punish here. Mosh pit to come right on through to force out a position, and it's handled so well from TIMEZ there. 6-11, and a lot more to go.
And I mean, exactly. I mean, rejoicing being pretty much the hero TIMEZ needed, coming in with 3 picks. 2 of them being really important when it came to the retake coming in from Visualize. I mean, they were looking so good so far this game. Hopefully that was actually the win they needed to at least get a few rounds in and hopefully bring them up in for them. I mean, that's what they needed.
Yeah. There's a similar look here. This time, the aggression looking a lot better, but NRY a little bit labored on the overdrive there. Does still land out that first one, but the response right behind him. Cooney looking for his own, and there's that neon diff coming through. Cooney has shown the true essence of improvement in this tournament right now. The duelist for Visualize. Handling the choke point so well. Right when you thought that overdrive was going to get the impact out of this round, Cooney shuts him down. But right now, the lurk of Shirisu makes things a lot more possible. Hunter going for the flashpoint play here. And right now, Spike not in their hands. He takes him down. But Cooney, wait. We're going to be getting a from the shadows play here. Odichirisu's already out B site. He's going to TP, grab the spike here, but Cooney is already here. He's gonna go for the peek, looks for the spray, he gets him! What a play from Cooney here. I love the awareness of how they were gonna play around that.
I'm out of here.
And then look at how they make it through position. The door is closed though.
Oh my goodness.
Is Hunter gonna be aware of it?
I don't think so. Not only has Cooney gotten better with the rifle work, but he's gotten better with the mental work. There it is. Playing the mind games with Hunter, getting the ace on the round, and Cooney has secured series point for Visualize here. Clawing their way back through this series on their back foot for the longest time, showing the true testament of resilience. And TIMEZ, they are one round away from potentially bowing out of the tournament. Nick, I did not think we were going to be here.
That goes there.
I mean, that was such an impressive round from the read from the shadows coming in to take the spike to the reposition CT, catching Hunter completely off guard.
I'm out of here.
That's just such an impressive round was coming in from Kunihi, and also such an important one as this just makes it so stressful 4 times. One mistake here and it causes them not just the map or the series, but their position in this tournament.
Yeah. And that's when mistakes become a lot more real too. Yuki looking to shut NRY down this time. Playing around really nicely. TIMEZ have a response this round. Hunter doing the damage and the dance over towards Market. Does take down the Cypher on the side of Visualize. Dyna left by their lonesome. Looking to take down Ski, but that's the discipline to come through. And it's a 1v4 Thrash and Rolling Thunder in the hands of TIMEZ. So presumably not a round that's going to work out in Dyna's favor here. And they are surrounded.
Just the spam, yeah, nothing that can be done here by Dyna. Definitely a good hold here from TIMEZ, considering the situation they're in. Hopefully something they're actually gonna able to keep up, though it is still looking really, really rough for them. And if you look at Visualize side, we have such big ultimates coming in. We have the Overdrive, we have the Neural Theft from the Shadows, and Thrash.
Yeah. It looks like they're using both of them coming into this. TIMEZ, the ultimates on their side. Rolling Thunder taking that site control. But right now, you see that nobody is there. TIMEZ knocking on the door of Visualize right now and nobody answering. So it looks like they're just going to prioritize keeping everyone alive, and they're always good at this too. Being aware of that Rolling Thunder, and there it is. Oh! Thrash comes through. Overdrive trying to land onto him, but it's not enough done. Looking for the damage is Paris right now on the Hunter's Fury. Thrash comes through, goes towards the spike now, but Wingman is on it. Gonna have to take it off. And it's halved right now. Empty. Left to do the damage, gets the first, looking for the second, gets spammed. And the Neural Theft makes it so hard to deal with, and there's 8 TIMEZ staying alive for another round.
We do what we do. Get back to chilling.
This was just a back and forth between ults. They used so much there and just invested pretty much everything they had from both sides. And this is Visualize going back into a low buy here. Having 1 hero rifle from Kuni and then 2 stingers and a Bucky.
There they are.
Have another default approach here coming in from TIMEZ, something we have seen quite a lot of and has worked for them the past 2 rounds.
And a lurk fight happens over towards A. Ski actually taking one down. Looks like they're going for these rotations here. Ichirisu staying inserted into this position, but not going to be able to give dark covers for them on this take, so presumably pretty soon going to become a part of the take here. Gets one towards CT. Hunter, there it is, clearing the corners. Very well done. And Cooney trying to follow things up, going for the shot onto Hunter, but can't take those dry fights against him. He's so good at it. And as the spike gets planted on A, we've got Yuki over here with the Bucky, trying to look for Ichirisu, but once again, he has completely slipped past his attention. Paris, the only one over here towards that spike able to do anything. Yeah. Oh.
But we've seen this very thing so many times, and he's trying to bot with a Bucky.
Last player
I
standing.
mean,
No more secrets.
yeah, just the storm coming in there. Not too much that can be done in that 2v1 situation with that plan spot.
We'll go again.
Time's looking so nice right now coming back into this game here after that last tech pause.
Yeah.
I mean, that was exactly the change they needed, that different pacing, all the different things they've tried, because they haven't consistently tried with playstyle. They did try a 5-man push which worked for them, and then they shifted into a default, and then having some people push a little too far in to get some picks from unexpected positions, and that worked perfectly for them.
Yep. And Paris once again almost caught out trying to close that door there. And RY has won that duel so many times. But nonetheless, the hits coming over here towards A. Once again, visualize with a very similar setup here. You have that Omen and that Gecko towards main. You have Neon at the other side of the choke here. And the hits coming through. Hunter landing out the first blood. Trying to dance around the position, but still going to get taken down. Keo with a response. And Dyna is looking to make a difference here. Does get one, but gets traded out. And that's not enough of an advantage for them either. So Paris left in a 1v3 here.
Spike
And what's
planted.
intriguing about this is starting to do a lot of damage to Visualize's economy. And just when you thought they were able to close it out, I mean, Times, they're clawing their way back into the series right now.
And it looks like Bryce is going for a save here. Trying to hold on to the rifle to possibly get 2 into the next round, which is most likely going to have to be a half buy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. As you said it, I mean half buy. Economy looks a little bit awkward. Definitely not going to be able to get rifles in everyone's hand, but Nick, it looks like they want to go for a full-on force here. Got a Vandal in the hands of Cooney, one in empty. They're going for that Stinger and Yuki, so a very awkward buy coming out from Visualize here, and I mean, at this point, this is when you start to question the potential of an actual comeback here for Times, because this round looks so unlikely for Visualize. That brings it to 11-12. That'd be last round of regulation, and you know how that went last time. We went into overtime.
Absolutely, and this is such an important round for them to win. They have to win this, otherwise they're in such a big disadvantage going into next round.
Right here.
Oh yeah! Off your feet!
There it is, Rolling Thunder. This time, Visualize not good for it. Playing off that site to avoid these hits coming through, although the Thrash lands onto the teammate. Able to get the pick there. And Yuki, once again, playing the space alone. That Rolling Thunder has completely forced him out of position here. But the soft position makes it a lot easier for him to contribute to this retake, as he can backstab, but empty. Going down ahead of it makes it a lot harder here. There's only 3 left standing for the side of Visualize. Numbers continuing to dwindle as Ichirisu kills Paris there, and the Thrash.
Spike planted.
And that's it. And Yuki was the first one on this site that was going to take contact and is the last one alive in the retake. But Kyo taking him down with the Vandal and a flawless coming out from Times. And we found ourselves at the last round of regulation once again.
It's just good crime scene etiquette.
Absolutely, and this is such an impressive comeback. I mean, the game was looking pretty much
This
lost,
is a nice spot.
and not only have they managed to just come back and win a few rounds, they're actually in a position where,
That goes
if
there.
anything, they actually have the advantage. Because not only do they have the bye here, unless against a weaker bye, but they also have the mental coming into this and into the overtime if they do win this round.
Yep. You're absolutely right. And that's momentum you want to be on going into overtime too. Not necessarily want to be that team that has to perform the comeback, but if you are, it's really good for you. And so Times in a really nice position right now to find success. And once again, a passive play over towards A. This time, all 5 of them committed towards this extremity now. Spike clearing things out over towards Tiles. And you can just see, Nick, how much both of these teams want it. How surgical this round has to be for each of these teams to pull this one away. Clearing the corners, Dizzy.
Cage trigger.
Gonna commence things coming into this exec. Right now, Hunter quiet on his way around this elbow position. Mosh Pit coming on site to take things out, and NRY caught out by the trap wire. But he's got the overdrive in hand. He's got to look for a pick soon or it's outcharged.
Running low.
Goes for the relay bolt, but he's going to play a little bit more reserved here. Now, if that's Cooney, I mean, he just goes into their spawn, kills them all, but Times looking to play it a little bit safer here. Ichirisu in a really good position, but the Dizzy coming right on through makes it so difficult. And Visualize, they might be able to take this one right away. Cooney with the counter overdrive comes through. The defuse has started. He's sticking it. He's sticking it. But Hunter takes him down. And Times have clawed their way back in this map. 12-12. We're going into overtime.
Overtime.
This map is just, all this entire series has been just full of surprises coming in from each team winning each other's map picks.
Yeah.
Even with Visualize almost losing a bit, and then coming into this map, I mean, it was looking so one-sided, and here we are, just sitting in OT again, just like last map.
Oh my goodness.
This was the half though that Visualize was looking really good on their attack half. Very curious to see how they decide to approach this, because at the same time their mental has to be a really bad one after losing this many rounds in a row.
Look where Ichirisu is every single time on defense.
Absolutely. That mid push again, though we do have Yuki out Tiles. We could get a timing on that.
Cooney making the space on the site here. Look how much more reserved Cooney is playing right now. You can see how much both teams want it. You can see how much they need it. But Times, numbers dwindling here. And Visualize finding themselves coming right back into this one. But I mean, Cooney, he's back site. And this is something you're going to have to deal with here. Hunter, he's been good for it before. Clears it, and there it is. The flick comes right on through, takes him down. Looking for the next one to empty, does take it. And Hunter's been so good for those every time this series. The defuse comes through for Times. There's absolutely no way that Times have come back and gained the lead in overtime. Match point, series point for overtime. Oh my goodness.
And coming into such an impressive round. I mean, that round was looking so bad for them going into the retake. They had a disadvantage, and Cooney was playing an off position, and his team was all playing main. I mean, Hunter took a very risky gamble, and not only won it, but actually gave him such a big advantage coming into that last part of that retake.
Yeah.
Right there.
If you are a Visualize fan right now, or a player that's not in this game, or a family member, or a friend, you are nervous right now in this moment, and so are the players. And Nick, that's where that mental comes into play like you talked about. This round right here is where we're going to see that come into play. They have to take this. Elimination all on the line, 13-12. My goodness. Yep. Once again, getting that contact play coming through. Going for that orb, and you want that in overtime as well because you get 2 picks off the back of the orb and you have an ultimate to work with. And things are becoming a lot more real as the presence is shown. Cooney landing off the first kill there makes things good here. But look at where Empty is. She's going to hear these rotations come through. And there it is, taking down Ski there. Visualize with the man advantage right now, but Ichirisu has somehow, once again, for the umpteenth time, slipped his way onto the site. And Yuki has no idea he's here too. So he might be able to get enough picks here to make things a lot more even for Visualize, or TIMEZ rather. Looking for the shots, but it's too labored.
Last player standing.
He gets taken down. Keo looking to get the clutch situation going. Plant comes through, 10 seconds left on the clock. He's looking for it. There's that Thrash. He's looking to do something with it. Gonna land onto the Omen there, and he tucks right into the corner, gets the first. And Keo, he's on his way to the clutch there, gets the second. My goodness, how close that was. Paris, always good for the trade there, and you see the excitement.
Absolutely, that was such a close round. I mean, he was looking at Thrash. There was nothing that could be done there, except he actually managed to get 2 and almost win an absolutely unwinnable round.
Switching sides. Overtime.
We're going to another timeout. This has to be getting so stressful for both sides here. I mean, essentially one small mistake here could just be absolutely detrimental for the entire series.
Yeah. And both teams, Nick, have worked so hard to get to this position. I mean, Visualize, because of how well they've clawed their ways back into the series after going down on their map pick. But TIMEZ, because they've made this comeback happen on this last map when it mattered most, both teams in a position where they deserve it, but also need it. And this timeout right here from Hunter is going to give TIMEZ a little bit of time, no pun intended, to think things through.
Absolutely. I mean, both teams have definitely shown that they've worked so hard for this and that they used their time off to actually get some practice in and improve. And it has definitely translated really well into their gameplay in the server. No, it essentially all comes down to these next few rounds.
Ah, this is a nice spot. This goes here. Yes, this should do.
All comes down to the overtime here. We have quite a surgical setup here by Visualize. The drone clearing towards the A space. Paris looking to be that default over here and cause a point of contention. Meanwhile, space taken from B, but this Nick is being contested by both teams right now. Hunter and NRY on the receiving end. Cooney able to get the trade onto Hunter, and NRY gonna have to tuck tail and dodge. Paris deeply inserted into this right now. Is Keo gonna catch this out? He does not. Right now, 3v3 scenario, and Ski try to look for the plant denial right now. Shock bolt coming through. There's the second, but left on a pretty good amount of HP. But the mosh pit taking him down to 33. Empty has done it well, but she's found herself in a clutch situation. Relay bolt comes through. Ooh, gets the first pick, but Ichirisu left down to only 19 HP. It was so close, but that's the defuse coming through for TIMEZ.
Team Ace.
Just another such close round. I mean, one shot even through the body of Rodinho or Ichirisu would be dead, and that would be match point for Visual side. This is just such, every single round one is still so close.
Yeah. This is insane.
Has just been a back and forth. Absolutely, this has just been a constant back and forth here for the past 2 maps.
Looking to close things off here are TIMEZ. Going into the round. Very, very heavy mid presence here by TIMEZ. Recon comes right on through, no scans, but the Aldrone gonna confirm that presence, able to spot onto 4 there. And the hits coming through towards Market. Empty, looking to do the damage, but caught out. Switching between the melee and the rifle. Yuki opting into play sight here, moving, dancing around the cage. Tripwire activated, but NRY already backside, and TIMEZ, they're looking to make this real. Paris getting a pick of their own. And right now, it's looking good. Crossfire towards backside, but the stun almost proving to be a cosmetic ability, but Ski left by their lonesome in a 1v2 clutch. Tap comes on to the spike. The retap comes right on through, gets the spam. And Cooney gonna have to be the one to make things happen right now. 1v1 and have TIMEZ really clawed their way back into this. Gonna have to defuse. Cooney looking for it, and there it is! Oh my goodness! TIMEZ have won the series, knocked Visualize out of the tournament. What did we just watch?
And again, coming down to such a close round. I mean, that one lucky shot through the smoke, and then that slight move back to not let Cooney be as close to just aiming towards where Ski was, and that's all it took to just win the round.
Wow. What an amazing performance from both teams in this series. But I know Visualize are so heartbroken right now. They worked so hard in this series to come back to this 3rd map, this decider, Nick, on Sunset. And they were so far ahead of their opponent. But TIMEZ actually showing the true testament of resilience in this series, coming back on that decider. And Ski coming out on top, 29-20, 280 ACS, a big difference maker for the squad here. Lurks were so good on attack, but he played around defense on the site so well. And that's the series for TIMEZ. What a performance.
Absolutely. I mean, they had it. It was so close. They were so far ahead. But then it all just came back to those few rounds that TIMEZ managed to win, and then just managed to get some just snowball off their economy there. There's just nothing more that could have been done for many of the rounds, and they still were so close. Overall, this was just such a good and entertaining game to watch, and they got so close. Both teams were trying so hard, and we're just toe-to-toe. It was essentially exactly what we said we were expecting and wanting to see from this game before it started.
Yep. And we got exactly that. This was insane. What a series. Exceptional performance by both teams. I know I've said it so many times, but I'm just in awe right now of what we just watched from TIMEZ. And we expected it to be close as well, Nick, because of the way both of these teams' first series went. Visualize going down in dominant fashion to Minji. TIMEZ going down the corner campers, although they already started that series with a disadvantage. But right here is where they've shown that they are a really good team in this tournament, and one to definitely watch out for. And they're going up against corner campers as well, because corner campers went down to Minji in that winner's match. So TIMEZ is going up against corner campers, and now, so looking at the result of this score is where I start to look ahead. Nick, what do you think about that matchup?
I'm definitely excited to get to watch it, because TIMEZ definitely showed us an entirely different self compared to what they did in the previous game. They showed that they put the work in and actually improved significantly, and so it translated so well this game, and I do believe that at least up to a certain point that is something we're going to see against corner counters as well.
Yeah. And I mean although
if they take that game for granted and believe that they have an advantage because of that first game we saw, I feel like that's definitely not going to be the case, and they do also need to put some work in to actually manage to win that.
Yeah, you are right, because, I mean, Corner Campers definitely a team to be reckoned with. I mean, they've got some really good ideas going into the server, although they weren't able to show it in that opening match. So you're absolutely right. I mean, although Times come out of this series victorious, not really time to relax yet. You have a decider match coming up, still not quite, you know, into the playoffs yet. So they're going to have to prepare for that. And looking ahead at that match, you're absolutely right. They're going to have to do a lot of prep work here because Corner Campers, I'm sure they're watching this match and they're thinking, all right, what do we need to do to go against Times here? And if I'm Corner Campers, I definitely know I don't want to be going up against them in overtime. That's for sure. Man.
Absolutely. I mean, just such a good look from both teams here.
Yep. And now, as we shift things, going back over and looking at the bracket here, we do show Times coming out on top there, 2-1 fashion, going up against Corner Campers in their next match. And this tournament's starting to shape up. That was the first elimination match there, so Visualize, who were so ahead in the series, find themselves out of the tournament. And we want to thank Visualize for joining us here at the VLE Challengers in Cup 2 Ascension, because they have shown us a lot of really good things here, Nick, I have to say. My heart goes out to them, especially Cooney as well. He has been such an incredible player in this tournament so far. Like, we saw him in the first matchup, you know, he had a hard time getting a lot of value, and we saw that in the stat line that we presented here shortly before the series got underway tonight. But look at how good he did tonight. Just an amazing improvement from him.
They absolutely did, and that is exactly what you said before the game started as well. He showed that he could do really well to game one, but there was just this synergy missing, and he was still missing quite a bit on Ascent, though it slowly started. We started seeing it a bit more and more on the base, with still a lot of plays of him just pushing out on his own and just mechanically playing well. But then coming into Sunset with that slower comp, he actually played with his team so well and like completely changed that playstyle. Went from just pushing out ahead and overextending constantly and just playing based on his mechanics to actually sitting down and playing as a team, which for many rounds made such a big difference.
Yeah, big difference indeed. Now, next week, actually, or not next week, actually Sunday, 2 days from now, we find ourselves, Nick, looking at 2 more elimination matchups. Sunday, November 3rd. The first one is going to be at 4 p.m. EST, and that's between ILH and Operatives. And that's a match that you and I are very familiar to. We saw that in LCQ, the last chance qualifiers in VLE Challengers Cup 1. So we're going to see a rematch between those two teams in an old rivalry. And then at 9 p.m. EST that same day, we've got EXL Alter Ego versus Equinox Esports. How do you expect those series to go?
I definitely think that the games are going to be somewhat close. Again, it is an old rivalry, as I said, a game that we have seen in Cup 1. However, both teams have very different rosters coming into this. Like, the teams are looking entirely different from one another, from what they used to be. I do believe the teams are also on quite close terms, and the game is going to be quite close. Something I am also expecting from Game 2. I don't know, I'm just very excited to get to see how this goes. I can't really say I have any predictions, let's say, going into that.
Those are definitely matches very hard to predict. I do believe that the first time Operatives and ILH went up against each other in a elimination situation, it was actually Operatives who came out on top. But you're right, Alter Ego versus Equinox, I mean, that's a hard one to expect. I mean, just looking from the first series that both of those teams played, I mean, it's the same narrative, actually, Nick, as the series that we just watched today. Both of those teams went down in dominant fashion in their first series. Equinox was a little closer, actually, to Fanatical Radiance, but still, both teams going down 2 on the series. And so Group D is probably the most even group that we've seen so far in this tournament, I must say. So that match is a bit of a toss-up. It's really anybody's game. Could be going up against Fanatical Radiance there.
I believe that both teams definitely have a chance. And And I also believe it's the same for ILH with operatives. Like, these are two teams that we haven't seen that much, but both teams looked pretty good, and I believe we're going to see a rather good matchup, just like we did today. Definitely excited to get to see it.
Yeah, same here. Speaking of excitement, what a wonderful night, folks. And thank you, everyone at home, for joining us and watching this matchup between TIMEZ versus Visualize. What a series, and we hope that you enjoyed it just as much as we did here in the caster's booth. And Nick, thank you for joining me on the cast today. It's been an absolute pleasure to call with you, man.
Absolutely, it's been so nice to be back here.
Yeah, it's been nice to have you back. Any closing remarks?
I believe I've said everything I had to say.
Awesome.
Again,
well, thank you guys.
I was just going to say it was absolutely a great game by both sides, and definitely so entertaining to watch.
Absolutely, and entertaining to cast with you as well, as always, brother. Thank you so much for that. And folks, thank you at home. What a wonderful matchup. And we're excited to see the action on Sunday between ILH versus Operatives and Alter Ego versus Equinox. And so before we go here, we do want to address the Group B for you guys who are wondering what's going on with Group B and the teams there. DSS did get the win, given the bye from Zeta in that first matchup, as the players weren't available to play the match, and there was an ongoing investigation. So before we end off the stream here, we do want to share an update we have with you as VLE Challengers. We made an announcement earlier. So EXL Extra Life, the roster, that was going to be a game that was going to happen later tonight against Zeta in that decider match, as you can see in Group B at the type right here. But they're going to get that default win and go up against Salvation in the decider match to go for that playoff spot. And our statement here from the VLE Challengers: competitive ruling towards players of Zeta. And here, VLE Challengers is dedicated to contributing a healthy and professional competitive environment to the esports ecosystem for low-elo players. And as community leaders, we maintain competitive integrity by holding members accountable for their actions. We're grateful for our members who continually assist us by monitoring our ecosystem to maintain that integrity. As such, we will continue to act on reports to preserve a safe and fair environment. The context of the competitive ruling here is that the VLE Challenger staff and administration have conducted an internal investigation of Zeta following several reports of smurfing and alt account usage. Now, the investigation included meetings with members of the current Zeta roster, meetings with previous Zeta players, meetings with our other tournament hosts, and a review of documented evidence provided by members of our community and all of the parties in this investigation. The violations here that are found by VLE Challengers. We've uncovered conclusive evidence that Monroe, the player Let's Play a Game, registered to the Cup 2 tournament here, has violated our rules of smurfing. Additionally, Diverse Peach has violated our rules of account sharing as confirmed by evidence from members of the community and obtained files. And the owner and manager of Zeta, whose name is Vortex, was unable to dispute the conclusive evidence we presented during the investigation. And the inaccurate reports supplied by Vortex are in violation of our Code of Conduct and competitive rules and regulations dually. Additionally, member Aspects admitted to smurfing for Zeta in other low-elo tournaments. And while there's no evidence to support him smurfing in VLE Challengers, these actions do not align with our competitive integrity and undermine the value of fair play for competitors in the low-elo ecosystem. And so our ruling is that Zeta will be prohibited from participating in VLE Challengers indefinitely. And additionally, members Vortex, Monroe, Diverse Peach, and Aspects are permanently banned from the VLE Challengers community for collectively and individually violating our Code of Conduct and competitive rules and regulations. Once again, folks, we want to thank you for helping us keep the low-elo space safe of any cheating and any smurfing, because that's very important to us here at VLE Challengers, and especially we know is important to Riot Games, the developer of this game, who have been trying to tackle smurfing for a very long time. And so it is also our duty to uphold that and to make sure that we are doing the same for Riot Games. So thank you for that, and we'll see you later.
Enemy